Francisco Alvarez. And, Francisco Alvarez, his season most likely is going to be done. I don't think they decided today. I did see Andy Martino write that if Francisco Alvarez waits until the offseason to have the needed UCL thumb surgery, it shouldn't impact the start of next season. It's a 6 to 7 week recovery time. I don't know, man. That sucks. It makes you feel like it's not your year. A guy like El Troll, who had just came back, had over 1,000 OPS, was hitting homers, hitting doubles. Why? Why do you got to slide head first into second base? They need that guy. But I felt like, the Mets picked it up tonight. Jeff McNeil, 3 hits, 3 ribbies. Vientos with the homer, 2 ribbies. Nimmo, Soto, Lindor with a knock. Everybody with a knock. Everybody except Alonso. Alonso 0 for 5. So all is well that ends well in that one. That one was done early. That one was pretty much done before the Yankees even got started. A 2-hour rain delay. See, that's the thing down there in Tampa, right? Playing in the Trop, they have a roof, or had a roof. They're supposedly putting the roof back on. But you guys have been down there to Tampa. If you go see the Yankees play down there, or if you go see spring training, like the weather down there is very unpredictable. It was supposed to be really hot. Obviously, it rained. And you know what? With a 2-hour rain delay, the thought crept into my mind, what happened to the Yankees last week, and I think they learned from it. I know they learned from it. But I was in Yankee Stadium for Judge MVP bobblehead night, and that 2-hour almost rain delay, the Yankees came out and they only scored 1 run. A Cody Bellinger solo shot. And that night I got on the fan and I said, man, it's feast or famine. They live and die by the home run. Sweep them so I know that it's real. You didn't sweep them. The Twins are our pals, our friends. It was right there for you to get it done. You had to pitch Yerry De Los Santos. He got hit around and you couldn't recover. I still don't believe. I'm not good enough. And you know what? Tonight people are asking me, do you believe? Are you back on the ride? Are you back on the roller coaster? No. Do I enjoy watching a baseball game that starts with a Judge bomb, a back-to-back, a belly-to-belly 2 bombs? Giancarlo Stanton hitting all? Yeah, of course. Of course, everybody likes that. That's fun, right? That's a fun Yankee game to watch. But at the end of the day, you're like, okay, yeah, historic. They tied, the home runs, 9 home runs. They had Jose Caballero, who has been a consistent theme here in this 4-game win streak. He's played in every game, and he's played a factor and a huge part. In all of these games, he's had his moments. That's what you're supposed to do. They couldn't even pitch. That first inning, bro, struck out the side but gave up 3 homers. Everybody was getting some, man. Jazz with the homer. Volpe didn't homer. Volpe was the only one. I'm like, join the party, Volpe. Come on. But, yeah, how excited can I get? I was more excited tonight. I mean, it's fun to see the Yankees go out there, put up 3, 2, 1, 4, and then in the 6th inning put up 2, then tack another one on to win 13-3. All that is great. Ben Rice with a homer. And they might need to give Ben Rice the day off. It's a late one. Ben Rice got beat up back there. I know he's feeling a couple of those, but I had more fun watching the Red Sox fold. I had more fun watching the Red Sox lose in 11 innings. Struggle to score. Manfred's man on second. And the Orioles, who I told you, they're not going quietly. The Orioles are no slouch right now. They are playing spoiler right now. And you know what? The Red Sox just lost both games to Baltimore in their building. Then they got to come to our building for 4, and the Yankees better at least split. Do not get smoked by the Red Sox again, because then they got to go to Baltimore and face the Orioles for a 4-game set in Camden Yards. 888-808-1019. I haven't said the number yet as I see calls starting to roll in. I'll take a break in a minute, and then we'll come back and take calls, and I'll get out of the way. But, yeah, I had more fun laughing at the Red Sox. The Yankees are supposed to go down to their own facility, their own building that they just revamped. Like I told you guys, those guys were down there yesterday, now 2 days ago, with a day off, getting comfy, hanging out, chilling in their apartments down there, their homes down there, they're supposed to smack Tampa Bay in front of their own fans. I think I made a joke on Twitter. I go, those are diehard Yankee fans chanting, "Let's go Yankees," up 10 at midnight in Tampa. Like, you're in front of your own fans in your own building, and they handle business. Carlos Rodon, sweaty-ass Carlos. He didn't have his best stuff. He was too sweaty. Rosin couldn't help the boy. And I know he probably doesn't want to do it, but maybe you wear some, like, Under Armour, Nike dry fit, like, long sleeves. He was struggling. But whatever. Carlos Rodon did what he had to do. He gets his 13th win, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks. Good enough for me, Carlos. They go Leiter Jr., De Los Santos, Tim Hill. We're feeling good about ourselves. Take this next game. And then you end up going 7-1 on this stretch here with teams that you're supposed to beat. Just what the doctor ordered, right? Exactly what you needed, right? Yeah. And if you want to know if I believe in the team, I'm not getting back on a roller coaster. I don't think they're winning the World Series. That's what I mean by I'm not going up and down every night. I'm not living and dying with every game. Even tonight, like, I was half asleep because of the game. I'm laying on the couch. Everybody's shut down in my house. My wife is asleep at 10 o'clock. My son is asleep at 8. I'm sitting on the couch like, I could go to sleep right now. Like, I'm not living and dying with every game at this point. Handle your business. Do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to smack them. You're supposed to get fat on these teams. You're supposed to get right on these teams. You're supposed to have Giancarlo Stanton out there and then take him out in the 6th inning to get him off his feet. Put Ahmed Rosario in the game. His first game back. Put Dominguez in the game. The young guy still developing. And yeah, I don't know. What I feel about the Yankees is, man, go ahead. If you can take this game and then keep on rolling this win streak, right? Because if you look at the standings right now, like, that's what I'm looking at. I'm scoreboard watching elsewhere. I'm too old to quit on seasons. I'm never going to quit on a baseball season. Anything can happen. Crazier things can happen. Prove me wrong. Go win the World Series this year. I'll be right there yelling and screaming, rooting for you. But I'm looking at the standings, and I'm like, man, this is it. This is exactly what we needed right here. This is a little run we needed. As I told you that the Red Sox lost, like, the Yankees are, like, how quickly did the Yankees go from fighting for their lives, being the last, the third team in the wild card, where it was like the Guardians were a game and a half back, to now, the Guardians lose their 3 back. The Royals are 2.5 back. The Yankees are +1 as the top wild card, where if the season ended today, which it never does, but if the season ended today, the Yankees would be hosting a 3-game wild card set. I don't want that. Go get the division. And maybe you reel me all the way back in. 888-808-1019. Let's take this one break here. When we come back, we'll talk to some Yankee fans, maybe some Met fans, but I know Gallo's going to talk Mets, and I know there's some Met fans that are waiting for the overnight, so I'll hit the Yankee fans for sure. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
Here's a high drive right field. Line drive, goodbye.
The Yankees and Rays play ball. 7:35 tonight. Driven by Jeep.
That was an extraordinary play.
Susan Waldman and Dave Sims call all of the action. The home of Yankees baseball is the Fan. 101.9 FM and always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is Alex Shulman.
And this is J.J. Hill of Shulman & Hill, New York's premier injury law firm.
We'll always fight for you when you're injured at work.
If you've ever wished you had a lawyer in the family, now you will.
At Shulman & Hill, it's never one and done. Once you're a client, you're always part of our family.
We'll always go the extra mile for you.
New Yorkers in every borough and on every block know us by name. Shulman & Hill.
Get your free consultation at hurtny.com. That's hurtny.com.
My dad is bringing home the best birthday cake ever.
It was my 5th birthday, and my dad was bringing home the cake.
Should have been here a half hour ago.
The cake never made it, and neither did my dad.
911, what's your emergency?
That was the day a drunk driver killed my dad. Daddy? Impaired drivers take lives. Think.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee
Aired in cooperation with the New York State Broadcasters Association.
Now at Verizon, lock in our low price, plus free roaming included in Puerto Rico. Discover the best mofongo, post that perfect sunset on La Isla, and save big with Verizon while you do it. Switch and get 4 lines for just $30 per line. See? Just $30 per month with unlimited welcome with autopay plus taxes and fees. Plus calls, texts, and data in Puerto Rico included, so you can use your phone sin problema. Stop by your New York Verizon store today. For unlimited welcome in times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
At City Harvest, we're on the road every day rescuing millions of pounds of nutritious food for New Yorkers in need. Transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Imagine a gentleman's club with over 200 gorgeous exotic dancers every week.
Hey, big boy.
From the people who make fantasies come true, Gallagher's 2000 in Long Island City is the place to be. Gallagher's 2000, a gentleman's club for today, gentlemen. Gallagher's 2000 features 2 floors, 3 stages, discounted drinks, VIP, champagne rooms, and dinner specials every night. Gallagher's 2000 offers complimentary lunch Thursdays and Fridays with any drink purchase.
Come on down, big boy.
Gallagher's 2000 is New York's largest upscale gentleman's club, and Gallagher's 2000's bachelor parties will blow you away. For their bachelor party specials, call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is located at 4319 37th Street in Long Island City, Queens, just a half a block north of Queens Boulevard. Call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is unlike any club in New York. Come tonight for the time of your life. Gallagher's 2000.
Let your imagination run wild.
Injured? Don't be a whiner. Call me, attorney Mark Miner. I'm Mark Miner, and I have over 30 years of experience handling personal injury cases. If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. You can trust that the personal injury law firm of Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner will treat you with respect and fight for your rights. Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE for a free consultation. Our goal is to transform your pain into payment. If there is no recovery, there is no fee. We handle all type of accident cases and value the opportunities to help you. The sooner you call, the better. If you are injured, call 1-800-LAW-LINE so we can discuss how to transform your pain into payment. Don't be a whiner. Call Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner at 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner, personal injury attorneys.
Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. That's 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Hi, we're Wren Kitchens. In our 50-year history, we've made and installed millions of quality kitchens, and now you can find us at the Home Depot across the tri-state area. With thousands of styles and colors to choose from, we offer a free home measurement service and expert design consultation. All of our kitchens are made in the U.S. and delivered directly to you and installed by our specialist fitters. We cut out the middleman to save you money. And with our flexible financing, you can spread the cost over 7 years. Come down to Wren Kitchens at the Home Depot now. Finance subject to credit approval. Offers may change. See website for more details.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Hey, Connecticut, if you want name brand tires at the guaranteed lowest price and the most free services, then get to Town Fair Tire. Because nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire. Get connected with WFAN to talk about your favorite teams. The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeart, and TuneIn apps.
We're right back to it because I think I have 11 minutes. Keep McPherson on the Fan. Sometimes you get KM in the AM for 11 minutes after you get positive Tommy for 4.5 hours on the Fan. That's just how it goes. 888-808-1019. Before we get to the calls, earlier today I was listening to BT and Sal. Shout out to BT and Sal. I'll get their whole show on Thursday, tomorrow, from 10 to 2. So I'll unpack everything then. I wanted to talk about Jackson Dart and Andrew Thomas and Cam Scatteraboo. I wanted to talk about Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson and the passing attack. And yeah, I won't get to that tonight. But what I do have to get to is, listening to BT and Sal, I think they gave Aaron Boone and the Yankees a little bit of a bump, questioning the lineup, right? Sal going back and forth with Boone on the lineup, and Boone gave you the lineup on air today early, and then that lineup went out and made history. So shout out to BT and Sal for the little bit of a bump. History was made, and shout out to Aaron Boone. That lineup absolutely cooked tonight. We also heard earlier today that Brent Hedrick would be going to the 15-day IL out in Somerset. Shout out to Oswaldo Cabrera, who threw out the first pitch, made an appearance out there. And also Fernando Cruz pitched a scoreless inning out with the Patriots. So he's on the mend. He's on his way back. And then the other news that we heard today from Aaron Boone was about Aaron Judge. And honestly, it had me spiraling in a way because, like, when you hear that Aaron Judge is going to be throwing with a governor, he's not going to be able to return to throwing. It just all sounds bad. It doesn't sound promising. The Yankees have this way with injuries where, like, they don't get their story straight because Boone is on Talking Yanks. Boone is on BT and Sal, the Yankee manager, who is the mouthpiece, the voice, right, between the organization and the media. And he's telling everybody that, yeah, Judge, like, and you know what? Go back to what I was saying all last week after we got the update that somewhere between August 15th and 20th, Judge would return to right field. And today is the 20th. That didn't happen. And then Boone said, hopefully Judge would return. So then Boone today said, I'm waiting on trainers to kind of say, yeah, thumbs up. I know he's expected the long toss today, so I don't expect it here in Tampa. Could it be Boston? Maybe. I just don't know yet. And then Judge, later on, Judge comes out and is like, I don't know why he said that. He probably didn't say it with that tone. I read it. I saw Brian Hoke's tweet where Judge basically came out and said, I don't know why he said that. He hasn't seen me throw for the past 2 weeks, so I'm pretty confident I'll get back to 100%. All rise, order in the court. Aaron Judge overrules Aaron Boone. Is there something going on? I don't know. I won't read too much into that. But a pissed off Aaron Judge is a good Aaron Judge. And Judge came out tonight and he said, nah, they're not going to rob me of a homer this time. Not this time. Boop. Put one off the batter's eye to dead center. Justin is in Floral Park on the Fan. Go for it, Justin.
Heath, what's up, baby? First of all, I'm in Cooperstown. Shout out to my Floral Park Knights. We're 2-2. We just lost a heartbreaker to the number one team state in New York, LSW, 1-0. My son pitched 6 strong. They have 1 run. What are you going to do? As far as the Yankees go, Keith, they take 3 out of 4 for the Red Sox. They're back, baby. They are back. And I'm telling you, I'm getting giddy because if you look, the Astros have some injuries who have been our kryptonite. They have no Hader. Okay, their pitching staff is suspect outside of Hunter Brown.
28 scoreless innings for the Astros. They're struggling a little bit right now. Yep, go on.
Keith, they're not scoring. They're not scoring runs. They lost today 1-0. So, Keith, the
Tigers with a walk-off walk, Gleyber Torres.
Yes, right. That's the one team I fear is the Tigers because they got the pitching, Keith.
Yeah,
Yankees, if these bats could ever come alive, we're going to be dangerous, Keith. And as far as Sal Licata goes, I know Sal Licata personally. He's a Yankee troll. Okay? I know he does it for his shtick, but he's a Yankee troll. He wishes he was a Yankee fan. Juan Soto is a bum. B-U-M, Sal. I hope you're listening. Juan Soto, you're going to have a
Shout out to Sal. Thanks for the call, Justin. I did see Sal, and I would love to meet Sal's wife. I'm sure she's a sweetheart. But I did see Sal today tweet, I love my wife, but I love me some Juan Soto. I would never put a baseball player I would never do that. But I don't know, man. Good for Sal. Sal is 101. Like, there's nobody like Sal Licata. Glenn is down in New Orleans on the Fan in New York. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, Keith, how you been? I'm a Red Sox fan, and y'all are catching us at the right time. They've started their usual August, September fadeaway. So I'd be surprised if the Boston won one of the games, but I'm really expecting the Yankees to sweep them. So
what was going on? I was sure when Nathaniel Lowe hit that homer, I'm like, up here it is. Like they scooped this guy for nothing. He hits the homer to tie it. They're gonna walk this off.
They load the bases 3 times in a row, and they can't get a run in. You expect to lose if you can't perform better than that, and that's the way they've been for the last, I'd say, about 12 games. So I don't think it looks good for them. I think the Yankees really, I have the most confidence in of the teams in the wild card race right now of staying in there. Probably Seattle second. And I'm not even sure Boston's going to make it. I think Cleveland or KC might overtake them. But, yeah, y'all should take 3 for sure, and a sweep isn't out of the realm of possibility.
I would love to see it. Thanks for the call, Glenn. Just moving it along because I've got less than 5 minutes. I think I already said, you just lose those 2 games to Baltimore. You've got to come to Yankee Stadium for 4, and then Baltimore for 4. So maybe the Red Sox are fading, and that sounds great to me. Walt is in Oceanport, New Jersey, next on The Fan. What's up, Walt?
Keith, love to listen to your rationale, but I have a little disagreement. I got 2 questions.
Okay.
My first question is, I heard something today, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but does Aaron Judge, does he need Tommy John surgery?
No, but see, that's where everybody was spiraling today, and it had me spiraling too, because they're like, oh, he definitely tore his UCL, and like, if they're doing this, it's because they're hiding something, and he's going to need Tommy John surgery, and then he came out to say, no, I'm going to be back to 100%.
Well, the reason why I'm asking, because I know you're like a tremendous athlete, and I was like, I didn't know if you had any inside information on that.
No, and trust me, I did a lot of digging and checking on people and stuff, and I that's why I say that the Yankees don't have their stories in order. What are they hiding? What are they not telling us? If Boone is telling us he's waiting on trainers, but then when they get in front of Aaron Judge, I don't know. Sometimes you don't listen to these athletes either, because they're never going to tell you. Like they're going to tell you, no, I'm good, because they think they're going to go to sleep and heal overnight and be able to throw. So fingers crossed that he can play right field, because the Yankees' best lineup is with him in right field and Stanton DHing.
Okay, Keith, can I get to my second?
Yes.
My second is that, I know you're a Yankee fan, and I'm not a Met hater or anything like that, and I'm happy that they won tonight, Yankees won, and everything like that. But why do you not think that the Yankees won't get to the divisional playoffs?
No, I didn't say that. I don't think they're going to win the World Series. They better make the playoffs with this payroll, going to the World Series last year with all these teams, like with all of these players, all these moves that they made, and these other teams in the weak ass American League. I just think that let's see when they actually face a team like they just faced the Astros and they folded. Like, let's see what they do with the Red Sox. Let's see what they do.
You think they go 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox?
I don't.
Okay, and why don't you think that?
I'll be happy with a split. And I would love to be wrong, because the Red Sox have owned them the entire year. Thanks for the call, Walt. I can only go off of what I've seen. I watched the Red Sox sweep them. I know it was a while ago, but I've watched the Red Sox own them the entire year. So, I mean, even though the Red Sox seem like they're in a bad one right now, there's something about Alex Cora stepping into Yankee Stadium and the Red Sox versus Yankees rivalry, and the Red Sox showing up for that, and the Yankees folding in front of their own fans. I hope not. I'll be there. I'm going Thursday. I'm going Friday. Like, I want to win those 2 games. I want to win all 4 of the games. But, like, I don't know. It's they are what they are until they prove us otherwise. I can't get so hyped up over the Twins, the Cardinals, and Tampa. Those teams are trash. Last call goes to Bill in Pittsburgh. You're on The Fan.
Hey, Keith. Love the show. Quick thought. Stanton is going through one of his best streaks since he's been a Yankee and maybe in his career. You notice he's not hitting with the same close stance. He's opened up a little bit. But here's the thing. In his career, he's a horrible pinch hitter. He actually hits better when he plays the field.
Yeah.
I would simply bat him first. When you're away, he'd have to play the field twice, and he'd get at least 2 at-bats. If you want to roll the dice and play him in the field for maybe 4 innings, he'd get 3 at-bats. That way...
I don't think they're going to ever lead him off. He hits home runs. They want him to drive guys in. And I don't think they're that worried about him playing in the outfield, and he'll mostly just play the short porch, which he has the luxury to do in Tampa. And coming home to the Bronx, Ahmed Rosario's back. He can play right field. Caballero can play right field. And hopefully, even though Aaron Boone said, I don't think we're going to see him back to throwing like he normally does at any point this year, we're trying to get through where he can let it go with ease and be able to protect himself. And Judge said, nah, I am going to be back to 100%. We need Judge back in right field, and Stanton can go back to DHing. But yeah, he is having his best, they're saying he's having his best stretch as a Yankee. So that's all I've got, man. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully they don't delay the game and I can get on sooner. Gallo's up next. Good night.
It's BT and Sal, middays 10 to 2 on the Fan, 101.9 FM.
Oh, yeah, pitchers can't go 115 pitches. Oh, yeah, they're conditioned at 5 and take a shower. The game has been overrun and is now controlled by geeks.
Listen to BT and Sal on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text Joe22 to 32 32 32. 866-323-7529. 250 Paley, Saddlebrook. Diana Magala, licensed in New York and New Jersey. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
Hey, New York. Looking for a great deal to stay connected? Now, for a limited time, Verizon's offering Fios home internet and 1 line of mobile for just $69.99. Yes, that's right. Just $69.99 per month. Get unlimited welcome for $50 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees when you bring your phone. And add Fios for just $19.99 per month with autopay, mobile plus home discount, and bonus discount. Visit your tri-state area Verizon store today to get this limited time offer and switch to our 100% fiber optic network and reliable 5G network. Fios, for eligible new Fios internet and mobile customers. Fios $15 monthly bonus discount applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. $99 Fios setup charge applies. Bring your phone. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
Right now, police are stepping up patrols to make sure drivers and pedestrians obey our crosswalk laws. Why? Because every year in New York, people are injured or killed just crossing the street. So remember, pedestrians, obey traffic signals and use crosswalks. And drivers, yield to pedestrians in crosswalks. If you don't, we will educate you on the law, and you may get a ticket, because tickets get attention, and that saves lives. A message from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
With over 90 years of combined legal experience representing the law enforcement community, Decolator Cohen and DePrisco, LLP, continues to strive to educate police officers of their civil rights to sue in line-of-duty accident cases. The 2025 Police Officers' Right to Sue newsletter can be viewed on policeofficersrighttosue.com and provides successful results in varying line-of-duty accident cases. These results include damages recovered from RMP accidents involving the City of New York and civilian motorists, station house defects, ricochet injuries from the range, private premises slip and falls, sidewalk slip and falls, construction defects, snow and ice cases, and injuries emanating from defective RMPs. In any LOD accident, it is important for the officer to take photographs of any defects, injuries, or damage. It is also essential to draft the line-of-duty report and detail the cause of the accident in the paperwork. Remember, there's a 90-day time limitation to file a claim against a municipality. If any law enforcement member has a question regarding a potential lawsuit, contact Decolator Cohen and DePrisco, LLP at policeofficersrighttosue.com or call 1-800-901-1529.
Hi, this is Stu Leonard. My wife Kim and I lost our 2-year-old son Stewie to a drowning accident. Do you know what we learned? If everyone is watching, no one is watching. Don't take your eyes off your child. When Kim and I are around the water with our grandsons, our phones are down and our eyes are open. Be safe. Phones down, eyes open. Learn more at stewietheduck.org.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
Talk sports with Evan and Tiki. Afternoons from 2 to 7. WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
WFAN Sports Flash.
Brought to you by Primo Brands, the official water sponsor of MLB. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. Some kind of night for the Yankees.
Swung on a high fly ball left field. Did he get another one? It's going back, and it is gone. Jose Caballero, his second home run tonight. The 9th home run hit by the Yankees. 2 home runs against his former team. What a night for Cabby.
Dave Sims the call here on The Fan. The Yankees slugging 9 home runs in a game for the second time this year. It had only been done 2 previous times in all of Major League history. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, and Giancarlo Stanton had back-to-back jacks in the first inning. It's the 3rd time the Yankees have done that this year. All told, a 13-3 pasting of the Rays in Tampa. The Red Sox and Mariners both lose again, so the Yankees take over the top spot in the AL wildcard hunt. The Mets didn't quite supply those kind of fireworks, but it was a pretty nice display in the nation's capital. David Peterson tossed 8 innings with a season-high 10 strikeouts, and the Mets got 4 home runs from their offense, including Juan Soto's 31st and an 8-1 beatdown of the Nationals. The Reds beat the Angels, so the Mets remain 1 game ahead for the final wildcard spot in the National League. And the defending WNBA champion Liberty defeat the league best Minnesota Lynx 85-75. I'm Pete McCarthy.
This city lives and breathes sports. WFAN is where Yankees fans argue with Mets fans and Giants fans debate Jets fans. Live, loud, and daily. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM. The Fan. WFAN.
Oh, that's right. Anthony Gallo on The Fan. I've got you all the way till 5 a.m. filling in yet again for the great Christmas Chronicle. Michael Fliegelman on the other side of the glass. Shout out to Keith McPherson, who just did the longest show in WFAN history. But man, what a night. An explosive night of baseball for both the Mets and the Yankees. The number to call is always 888-808-1019. And the Yankees continue to mash. The Yankees continue their hot streak. Now 8 out of their last 11. And this team is clicking on all cylinders at the right time. The Yankees are gearing up as the Red Sox and the Mariners fall on their face. And yes, the Mariners losing to better teams in the Mets and the Phillies, but the Red Sox now 3 straight losses to the Marlins and Orioles. And I sit here today, and I don't want to make a declaration and a guarantee, but it feels like this Yankees team is running away with this wild card. Yes, it's a game right now, so you're going to tell me I'm getting ahead of myself, but the way they are playing, it feels like every single guy on this team, outside of Max Fried, is clicking at the right time. Every single guy on this team is doing their job. And since the acquisition of Jose Caballero and the return of Stanton, this offense has played up 12 notches. They are finally clicking on all cylinders. Bellinger back in the groove of things. Goldschmidt healthy. Stanton healthy. Judge healthy. The trade deadline acquisitions being felt both in the field and on the mound. This Yankees team is gearing up to run away with this first wild card. And don't look now. They're playing hot right now. There's no reason to think they can't get themselves back in to the division race. 37 games left. Down 5. It's going to be a tough battle, but it is exciting to see the Yankees finally playing good baseball again. 9 home runs tonight. 3 multi-home runs from Stanton, Bellinger, and Caballero. Judge, Jazz, adding some other ones. I got to look up who the 9th one was, because now it escapes my brain. But this Yankees team, and Rice, this Yankees team clicking on all cylinders. Jazz getting in the mix tonight, so you hope he starts to take off at the plate. 2 for 5 for him. Volpe, maybe feeling that pressure of having a guy like Caballero behind him and Ahmed Rosario back healthy. Hopefully, Volpe gets going, but Judge, Stanton, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Ben Rice now, all hitting, all playing red hot. All doing things, and I mean, Stanton, it cannot be said enough how massive an impact he's been to this Yankees team. How massive this guy's been to this Yankees lineup. They're red hot right now. They've gained 2.5 games in a matter of 2 games on both the Red Sox and the Mariners. Obviously not playing last night and both of those teams losing. The Red Sox now 3-7 in their last 10. The Mariners on a 4-game losing streak. It is looking up in the Bronx. It is finally feeling like this team is playing to their capabilities. And there's a lot for them to do right now. There's a lot for them to prove. But they are starting to build the distance from being, that third wild card spot where you have Cleveland and Kansas City on your tail. They're widening that gap. And again, they now sit a game above the Red Sox and the Mariners. There's a lot of baseball left. There's a lot of room for mistakes to happen. But this team is playing the way we thought they would. They're playing like it's April and May again. The hitters are hitting. They're fielding the ball well. They're running the bases well. And I know there was a couple, mistakes in the field today, but I'm not concerned about it. The rain delay, you're up big. Guys took their foot off the gas a little bit. Rodon, when he doesn't have his best stuff, still gives you a great start. So the rotation outside of Fried continues to click. And now that's 16 straight starts where Rodon has been super effective. And much like Stanton, Carlos Rodon, you cannot say enough how impactful this guy's been. Obviously, Stanton on a shorter, window that he's affected this team. Rodon has been the most reliable pitcher on this team since opening day. He does not get the credit, much like Giancarlo Stanton does not get the credit. But they're firing on all cylinders. And I've been preaching this now for 3 days. And every day, it feels a little less illogical. It feels a little less reactionary. And more Yankee fans start to buy in. If you listen to Keith beforehand, Keith, being fair, he's being objective, saying he's not getting back on the wagon just yet because he doesn't think they can win the World Series. Sure, I'm not out here announcing they're going to win the World Series. But who exactly are you afraid of? What team in the AL do you really think is that much better than you? It's not the Red Sox. It's not the Mariners. Sure, a lot of the critiques about the Tigers is they've got to do it in October. We've never seen this team prove itself. Well, that goes for the Blue Jays too. The Blue Jays also, do we expect them to, one, weather the Vladdy Guerrero injury if it ends up being more than let on? It's not like their numbers are through the roof. Their pitching staff is good, reliable. It's not lights out. Do you expect Max Scherzer to carry his hot second half into the playoffs? At any moment, that guy could fall apart, both physically and on the field. This Yankees team is doing everything you need to see. Everything that should be galvanizing the fan base. Because all you can do is react to what you've seen. And over the last 12, 15 games, they're doing that. You know, this hot streak isn't just, pinpointing the last 11 games. The offense has started to come out of it well before then. And you look to later today with Schlittler on the mound versus Rasmussen, and not an easy start. This is the Rays' probably best pitcher starting-wise. Before a massive series starting on Thursday against the Red Sox, where you could, at this point, if the Red Sox don't get out of it, and I'm not sure if that was a 2-game series for them. So they are off today. You could, get another half game on the Red Sox today and potentially bury them this coming weekend from having to worry about them jumping you in the wild card. And right now, more short term, the Yankees should be looking to build on this lead in that first wild card spot. And I think when it's all said and done, we'll get into the division, as the season goes along and see if they can cut away at that 5-game lead, which is not insurmountable, but I'm not going to tell you it's easy. But their main goal right now, their short-term goal should be building on the Mariners and the Red Sox lead that they have. Widening that gap so you're guaranteed home playoff games. If you're not getting a bye, you're guaranteed home playoff games going into October. And, if they were to jump the Blue Jays, getting a bye is on the table. They're a game behind the Astros. And 5.5, 4 in the loss column. Or I guess it's 4.5. I have to double check. On the Tigers. So why can't they run away with it? Why can't this team go on a run? I said that last night, and I'll continue it today. Because all I hear is pessimism. Well, this Yankees team, we'll get to the Mets a little later. This Yankees team has been playing well now for over 2 weeks. If they continue this week and they get through it, how long are you going to latch on to the 2 months that they struggled? How long? They didn't overtax their bullpen tonight. The bullpen was very good again. They got horses coming back as well, where they're going to have a lot of options. They're going to have some tough decisions to make on the pitching staff. And these are good problems to have. Getting Ahmed Rosario back and having Caballero play the way he is, this is good problems to have, to figure out where to play everyone. You're not forced to play Austin Wells and Jason Dominguez. And he's been playing well, so I don't want to get on him. But if Volpe drops off again, you're not forced to play these guys anymore because you now have a deeper roster. I said it at the time, and I'll say it again. Brian Cashman killed the deadline. As the kids would say, he cooked. And I just aged myself 10 years the way I just said that. This guy, yet again, when the fan base has all but given up on trust when it comes to Brian Cashman, outside looking in, I think the guy is the best to ever do it in this sport outside of Theo Epstein. And you're starting to see the payoff from that massive deadline. This Yankees team is gearing up for a huge run. They're getting ready to widen that gap between them and the rest of the wild card race. 888-808-1019. 9 home runs tonight. Crazy. I saw a stat before where they've done that 8 home runs in a game. They've done that 4 times in their history of a franchise. When you think about it, is there a more historic franchise in all of American sports than the New York Yankees? They've done that 4 times in their history. They've done that twice this year. That's how crazy this offense is. And you could call me in and say tonight's another example of why this team's boom or bust when it comes to the offense. All or nothing. No, they're not. They've already proven to you this year they're able to manufacture runs. They're able to run the bases as of late. And if you heard earlier, you didn't, you can always use the Odyssey app, the rewind function. Aaron Boone was on with BT and Sal. And, Sal brought up the base running miscues. And, Boone was fair about it. He said they've made a lot of inexcusable mistakes, but he thinks it's more amplified because of the markets they play in. And it's not like the metrics are showing that they're any more reckless than other teams. And they've definitely, over the last 2 weeks, shored up that aspect along with their defense. Everything. They could have not. They've changed the script. They flipped the script so much over the last 15 days. And the narrative is slowly going to change in the positive direction. And as that meter goes from a fan base that was completely negative, and it starts to go farther into, positivity and hope and optimism. And yes, the Yankees, as I'm talking about defense, and they show the Caballero pop-up drop. But again, this game was over. They're playing in a minor league stadium. It's humid. Nobody wanted to be there. And see, when I make these excuses now and they're winning, it doesn't feel as crazy. But they're starting to do things the right way. And they are firing on all cylinders. The starting pitching has been great. The bullpen's been great. The offense has been fantastic. And if they get Max Fried going, watch out. And one more thing before we go to break. I want to highlight this one more time. Stanton's health has absolutely flipped the script for this Yankees team. He's come back. He's been absolutely bonkers at the plate. 300, over 1,000 OPS. On the year, 14 homers and just 147 at-bats. He's played 45 games. He's got 18 extra base hits, 38 RBIs. The guy has been a monster. You have over 1,000 OPS over 162 games. Those are MVP numbers. So adding him to this lineup, and yet again, Stanton is doing it at the most important time. He's been in the Aaron Judge, Aaron Boone era, and obviously he predates Boone a little bit. Stanton has been their most consistently clutch player. He's probably been the most clutch player for the Yankees since Derek Jeter. That's how great this guy is when it matters. Late August, September, and in the postseason. When they're losing that wild card game to the Red Sox, he stepped up. Every one of these postseasons where we're crying about someone, whether it's Judge or another player, Stanton steps up. And yet again, he's stepping up when this team needs it most. And Judge is starting to fire on all cylinders. You're getting a healthy Goldschmidt. Ben Rice is red hot. Bellinger looks to get red hot. He obviously it was a smaller dry spell for him. You hope that tonight gets Jazz going in the right direction. Grisham's been pretty consistent, but he is what he is. But that's okay. You need guys like that. They have all the pieces. They have power. They have speed. They have versatility. They have guys who can run the bases. They hit for contact. They hit for average. It's the same thing, but you get the point. A little redundant. Even Volpe, for as bad as his season's been, the guy has 26 doubles and 18 homers. It could be worse at that position. So why can't this team easily run away with this wild card? 888-808-1019. We'll get back to the calls, or we'll jump into the calls. I got you till 5 a.m. Shorter show tonight, so we got a lot to get to. When I come back, there's one guy I want to highlight that has probably been the most unsung Yankee all year. And he's impacted this team immensely, even when they were playing at their worst. And it's been 2 years now that I feel like he deserves more credit than he gets. We'll get into that. We'll take your calls. It's National Radio Day. So, maybe we'll jump into my radio journey a little bit. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
Baseball or football, WFAN runs the city. Yankees bats, Mets heat, Giants defense, Jets dreams. It's all here every day. The Fan, 101.9 FM and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Imagine a gentleman's club with over 200 gorgeous exotic dancers every week.
Hey, big boy.
From the people who make fantasies come true, Gallagher's 2000 in Long Island City is the place to be. Gallagher's 2000, a gentleman's club for today, gentlemen. Gallagher's 2000 features 2 floors, 3 stages, discounted drinks, VIP, champagne rooms, and dinner specials every night. Gallagher's 2000 offers complimentary lunch Thursdays and Fridays with any drink purchase.
Come on down, big boy.
Gallagher's 2000 is New York's largest upscale gentleman's club, and Gallagher's 2000's bachelor parties will blow you away. For their bachelor party specials, call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is located at 4319 37th Street in Long Island City, Queens, just a half a block north of Queens Boulevard. Call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is unlike any club in New York. Come tonight for the time of your life. Gallagher's 2000.
Let your imagination run wild.
Town Fair Tire became New England's #1 discount tire dealer by giving you the absolute lowest prices guaranteed. And with over 100 stores from Connecticut to Maine, we'll beat anybody's price. Other dealers, we beat them. Warehouse clubs, we beat them. Online sites, we beat them all every day. So remember, for the absolute guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
WFAN will now transmit the weekly test of the Emergency Alert System. Get the latest on the Giants and Jets on WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Injured? Don't be a whiner. Call me, Attorney Mark Miner. I'm Mark Miner, and I have over 30 years of experience handling personal injury cases. If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. You can trust that the personal injury law firm of Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner will treat you with respect and fight for your rights. Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE for a free consultation. Our goal is to transform your pain into payment. If there is no recovery, there is no fee. We handle all type of accident cases and value the opportunity to help you. The sooner you call, the better. If you are injured, call 1-800-LAW-LINE so we can discuss how to transform your pain into payment. Don't be a whiner. Call Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner at 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner, personal injury attorneys.
Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. That's 1-800-LAW-LINE.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Alex Shulman of Shulman & Hill, New York's premier injury law firm. We'll always fight for you if you're injured at a construction site. If you've ever wished you've had a lawyer in the family, now you will. At Shulman & Hill, it's never one and done. Once you're a client, you're always part of our family. New Yorkers in every borough and on every block know us by name. Shulman & Hill. Get your free consultation at hurtny.com. That's hurtny.com.
Tell Siri to dial the fan. 888-808-1019. Powered by Paramount Plus. Count on Sundays all season long with the NFL on CBS and Paramount.
We continue the theme of the overnights. You know, we are on YouTube, and someone said, I don't know if this is a compliment. I don't know what you think about this, Fleegs, but someone said I look like a poor man's Josh Allen. So I think I'll take that.
I mean, he just married Haley Steinfeld, so I would take it as a compliment.
I'll take it. If I'm a poor man's anything. It's better than the guy the other night who said I don't look like I bathe, so that's also rough. Haley Steinfeld, great in Sinners. I don't know what else she's in, but she was great in Sinners. And I know, she got the line that was overblown, but she was good there, so there you go. Josh Allen, the quarterback that Broncos.
Short of saying that line on the air. Good.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, I don't think I could get into this. Also, just full circle. Bronco fans have never given up the fact that they didn't draft Josh Allen and they took Bradley Chubb. So here we go. I've been told that I look like Ryan Stanek also, so I think Josh Allen is a little bit better. But I started the show talking about this Yankees team. They're red hot. This is the time you could, again, baseball's a long season. What's the stupid adage of, it's not stupid, but it is simplifying the entire season. And you win 60 and you lose 60. It's what you do with the rest of the season that matters. But when you look at this team, they played good for 2 months. They played bad for 2 months. This part of the season is going to define them. Not June, not July, where they struggled, not April and May, where they were red hot. This will define them. And they are starting their most critical stretch the right way. 21 of the next 37 games against teams under 500. All you could do is play the teams in front of you. And I can tell you this much, the Red Sox aren't beating the bad teams. So anyone who wants to take away from the Yankees that they are beating up on bad teams, well, you're supposed to do that. That's what good teams beat the bad teams. And that over 500 record, their record against over 500 teams goes out the window when you get to October and you start knocking guys off. There's been one Yankee, though, this entire season, honestly, for the last 2 seasons, who has not gotten the credit that he deserves. And I know he's streaky at times, and last year it was kind of a tale of 2 halves. And his first year in New York was a disaster. But Carlos Rodon continues to be the most consistent Yankees pitcher. You can't count the guys from the deadline because they weren't here. But Carlos Rodon continues to be the most consistent Yankees pitcher, both in the pen and on the rotation. Over his last 15 starts, he's got a 3.5 ERA. And that actually jumped up a little bit after this start. If you go back to his last 16 starts, it's a little lower, but he's been awesome. On the season, his whip is damn near 1. His average against is 187. He's going to strike out. He's going to finish the year probably with over 200 innings, over 200 strikeouts. Yes, his first year was not good, but this guy has been awesome. And Yankee fans, he got off to a really rough start with you. And a lot of it he did to himself. the excuses and the tantrums coming off the mound. I think it was in Anaheim when he was jawing with the fans. But he has settled in nicely. If anything, that should endear you more. It's how I used to feel about Julius Randle. He beefed with the fans and still was able to bounce back. And it's not easy struggling in this city and then, off the rip and then being able to recover and bounce back from it. We, Met fans, me, myself, obviously, as a Met fan, it's part of the reason why we trust Edwin Diaz so much. Because his struggles were a little overblown at first, but he struggled so hard. And now he thrives in this environment. Stanton, a guy that does not get credit. You look at Rodon and Stanton, they are carrying this team right now. And they don't get nearly enough credit. And I get it. Their contracts are what they are. When they're performing right now, you should be as loud to praise them as you are when you're criticizing them. And most of the criticism with Stanton is just that he can't stay healthy. Well, he's healthy right now. And he's balling. Rodon is pitching like, we always say good Rodon or bad Rodon. He's been good Rodon all season. His numbers, basically since the Yankees went into his tailspin, he's really only had one disastrous start. Or I guess two. I forgot about the one against the Mets. But the start against Boston and the start against the Mets. Otherwise, it's a year. I remember he had the one, it was I think his second start of the year where he struggled against, it might have been the Tigers. He's been consistent the rest of the season. He's been great. Where Fried has struggled immensely, and the rotation has been banged up. Warren's been banged up. Luis Heel wasn't here for most of the season. Cam Schlittler's been very good since he's been called up, and he'll start today's game. But they've lost pitchers to injuries. They lost guys before the season even started. The biggest piece outside of Judge on the team hasn't even suited up this year, and Garrett Cole. And this guy has been nothing but reliable. And tonight, where he goes out there, and he did not have his best stuff. He was struggling. He was sweating like I do when I go to the buffet and I see they brought out the crab legs and I'm getting ready to take off. He was sweating his ass off tonight. Didn't have his best stuff and was able to go out there and give you a great start. 6 innings, 2 runs. That's what top-end pitching does. You weather the storm. When you don't have your best stuff, you manage to make it work. De Los Santos, maybe the only blip of the night. This Yankees team is clicking at the right time. The offense is firing on all cylinders. The starting pitching outside of Fried has been fantastic. And the bullpen has been great. I saw people, talking online. There was a couple people, I heard it a little bit in Emmanuel's postgame when they spoke about, he takes a question, should they have gotten Devin Williams work? I don't think it's necessary to force this guy into a game just to get him work. He's been fine. Over his last 3 starts, since he's been slotted out of high leverage, he's been fine. And you look at that bullpen, the back end with Weaver and Bednar, your closer and setup man, who have been lights out, and the rest of the bullpen piecing together those innings. Whether it's the 5th, the 6th, or the 7th, they have the weapons. Devin Williams can pitch in low leverage. He's still that same talented pitcher. And now he's not dealing with the bright lights anymore, being the closer or even the setup man. I still believe in Camilo Duvall. You have guys like, De Los Santos and Hill, who have been very effective. I'm not really, buying into the guys like Hedrick, and I'm not the biggest believer in Leiter either. But they have a deep bullpen, and they have guys like Loaizaga, Cruz coming back. I don't know what they're going to do with Yarbrough. I don't know if they're going to look to maybe get him starts or if he's going to be a long reliever out of the pen. He's been a versatile guy. You get Fried going. And who exactly isn't picking up the slack here? Yeah, sure, there's guys in the lineup that are not hitting, but they're not guys that are going to hold them back anymore. They're too deep offensively right now for a bad stretch from Anthony Volpe or Austin Wells to hold them back anymore. And with Ben Rice emerging, he's got to be the catcher every day. You know, and again, I'm going off a lot of what I heard from Boone earlier with BT and Sal. You know, it's on our YouTube page. It's probably podcasted. You can check it out on the Odyssey app as well with using the rewind function. He didn't make it seem like Austin Wells is getting his starting job back either. Like he's going to have to earn it. You know, he was very complimentary of Ben Rice, and he said there's ways to get him work, whether it's DH or first base or catcher, or he's getting consistent at-bats, and he deserves them. We're past the point of gifting at-bats to guys. We're past it. That goes for both the Mets and the Yankees. If you're not hitting, you're riding the pine. So they sit a game up on the Red Sox. They sit a game up on the Mariners. You're waiting and seeing if the Blue Jays let on, if the Vladdy injury's worse or not, but you can't bank on injuries. Everything's right in front of them. The schedule is easy. They have a big game today against a tough pitcher. I know this Rays team is, you know, kind of bottoming out right now, but Rasmussen's a great pitcher. You got Cam Schlittler on the mound. The Red Sox are reeling. They get a day off. And then you have a huge series this weekend, which you could put a huge gap between you and the Red Sox going forward. I mean, I'm assuming Heel will pitch Friday, and then we'll get Fried and Will Warren the next 3 days. I don't know if they're going to go with a bullpen start because of the condensed schedule going into that Sunday night game. But you got Rasmussen tonight, and you got 3 tough starters from the Red Sox. But if you punch them in the mouth with their best guys on the mound, and they will fold. And I'll tell you this much. I was talking, I mentioned earlier, Carlos Rodon and his incident 2 years ago with Yankee fans. Is there a guy who hates playing for his city more than Duran in Boston as he curses out another fan tonight? And I know he's falling out of favor as Rafaela, kind of steals time from him and that outfield solidifies a bit. That guy needs to get. I'm surprised they didn't trade him. That Red Sox team is struggling. The Mariners are struggling. Not that you're really looking at the Astros, but to put it in perspective, you're a game behind the Astros. Hosting the wild card is 100% realistic now. And I think they are going to end up widening this gap. But you are not done with the division yet either. A Blue Jays team that is just as flawed as the Yankees. A Blue Jays team that is cooling off a bit as the Yankees get hot at the right time. 888-808-1019. We'll get into your calls. We'll talk more about the Yankees. We'll get into the Mets stuff. It is National Radio Day as well. You got a favorite moment from the station. Maybe I'll peel back the curtain a little bit about how I even got to this point. But Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m. filling in for C-Mac. I got you all the way to the warm-up show. We'll be back after the break.
It's Evan and Kiki. Afternoons on the Fan, 101.9 FM.
The Red Sox are not making the playoffs despite their hotness lately. Write that down.
What, you want to bet on that?
Yeah, what do you want to bet?
I don't know, but I want to bet that because they're making the playoffs.
Okay.
Well, we'll think of something.
Loser can't leave the room until they complete the 999 challenge.
Oh, I like that.
Listen to Evan and Kiki on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Pirie coming this October.
You don't look lip, please. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
When it it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate. 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
D'Agostino Law Bite Back.
I'm injury attorney John Ryan D'Agostino, nicknamed The Closer, continuing D'Agostino and Associates' legacy of helping the injured for over 35 years. My father, John D'Agostino, built this injury firm to help accident victims.
This is John D'Agostino, and this is a family firm. For us, it's about doing what's right and making sure somebody pays for your pain. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-BITE-BACK.
They call me The Closer because big or small, in court or out, I'm fighting to get the job done, to win, to get you every dollar you deserve.
D'Agostino and Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there and I'll be there for you. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
Town Fair Tire, Connecticut's largest discount tire dealer. Because we give you the guaranteed lowest price and we honor every manufacturer's rebate. We even honor all our competitors' rebates. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire.
Oh, what are you doing? Don't do New York City dirty.
New York City's my heart, my soul. I would never do this place dirty because everything I want is in this city.
Why would you want to dirty somewhere that you live?
This is your home. You don't throw papers out the window, flick cigarette butts.
It's disrespectful. Dispose of it the correct way.
I would never put trash on the ground. That's why we got trash cans. Don't do New York City dirty. Trash your trash.
A message from the Sanitation Foundation.
One by one, we keep this city clean, man. Let's get it.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me. Like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Get the scuttlebutt on your favorite team, the Fan, on the Odyssey, iHeart, and TuneIn apps.
Gallo, back on the Fan. 888-808-1019 is the number to call as always. If you're too shy to call in and you want to get in on the conversation, you can always hit me up on the WFAN socials as we monitor those all night. Or you can hit me up on my X at PicoDay_Gallo or Pico de Gallo 24 on IG. Tonight was a nice 2 very easy games to watch. You know, the Yankees took, 3 hours to start, or 2 hours to start. But you got 2 very low stress, something both fan bases desperately needed. I know for the Mets, I was begging for just give me another blowout. It'd be nice, 2 back-to-back blowouts where I don't have to stress the entire night. Peterson was excellent. And we'll dive into that in a little bit. And the Yankees just continue the torrid pace they're on. Rattling off another big offensive night. And this team, for how bad they played at times, it's a little bit different than the other team on the side of town because we've seen this offense. Even when the Mets were playing well, their offense was not hitting earlier in the year, and now it is. This Yankees team, at the beginning of the year, they were doing everything right outside of, I guess, Devin Williams. And then they slumped at the wrong time, and the pitching never really fell off. They needed starting pitching because they were lacking healthy arms. They didn't need starting pitching because the guys they were trotting out there were all terrible. Yes, Stroman was not good, but it wasn't like every single starter. Rodon has been good. You can be lukewarm on him, but the facts are the facts. He's been consistent all year. You can argue with your mom about it. Fried has only really fallen off over his last 8 starts, and they've been awful. He had a under 2 ERA going into late June. So his last, handful of starts, 8 starts, whatever it is, he's been awful. But Will Warren's been consistently good. Cam Schlittler, you hope he continues to do what he does. And this is about that time where you start to see teams get tape on you and you see if they figure it out. But he's kind of been, pretty consistent in every start. You hope that Luis Gil this weekend against the Red Sox builds on, his last 2 starts. He's only made 3. So I can't sit here and tell you, as much as I am high on Luis Gil, I can't sit here and tell you that this guy is a guarantee to go out there and show you that he's the same pitcher from last year. But 2 of his 3 starts have been good. The first start he struggled, and the last 2 he's been good. Bullpen-wise, the deadline, all Yankee fans panicked. You guys lost your minds because of that game against the Marlins where the bullpen guys you brought in struggled and Caballero made a poor play in the outfield. And since then, these guys outside of, Slater and Jake Bird, who, Slater got hurt and Jake Bird got sent down, these guys have been consistently good. Bednar has locked up the closer position. He is also, the addition of Bednar has not only affected the closer position, but it has allowed Devin Williams to slot in to a low leverage role where I'm not going to say he's figured it out, but his last 4 outings, I think it's 3 1/3, because the last outing was a third of an inning. He hasn't given up a run, and he struck out like 8 batters. And it's allowed Luke Weaver to be what he should be, a high-leverage setup man. Because my fear was, just like with Clay Holmes, the Yankees were putting a middle reliever, a guy that's good as a setup man at best in that closer's role, and he began the struggle. That he got hurt, and he came back, and he was still struggling. And now he's been lights out. And then you look at offensively, Ryan McMahon hasn't been amazing. He's been better than what he was in Colorado, but he hasn't been amazing. But he's been good. He's way better than anything they threw at third base. When they made the move, I told you this shouldn't be the only move, but it is a clear-cut upgrade because what they were trotting out there at third base were not Major League Baseball players. Similar to my thoughts about the Giants quarterback position. The Yankees were throwing, the Tommy DeVitos of the world, level of AAA, 4A player at third base. So you add a Major League Baseball player like Ryan McMahon there. No, he has not been great, but he's been better than what you had there. And Caballero and Rosario are maybe adding a little bit of pressure on Volpe, and he seems to be benefiting from that. The emergence of Ben Rice, not a deadline acquisition, but the emergence of Ben Rice, who cooled off in June and July, has now allowed you to not have to rely on Austin Wells for anything but backup duty. The emergence of Stanton, and hopefully Judge can get into the outfield. And Boone was kind of, lukewarm on that, was not really showing his hand. The emergence of Stanton coming back healthy, firing on all cylinders, being their best hitter over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, has allowed them to not have to rely on Jason Dominguez. You can allow, with the way the lineup is, Volpe and Grisham's hit more than Volpe, but Volpe and Grisham not having to be relied on for their offense, because you have seven other guys who are hitting. Well, hopefully Jazz gets it going. But you have Goldschmidt, you have Bellinger, you have Stanton, you have Judge, and you hope McMahon builds off of what's been a little bit of a hot streak. Not really a hot streak, but he's being productive. You hope that allows those guys to just be defensive pluses. Not every guy in the lineup needs to be a great hitter. But if they're an elite defender, like Volpe has shown in the past, and you're hoping he's starting to get more comfortable back out there, that is good. And Grisham gives you tough at-bats. He's got a good eye. Yes, he's not always going to be a lights-out hitter, but he sees the ball well. He works the count. He can walk. He's, right now probably their best bet to lead off. But he's an excellent center fielder. So if those guys are doing their job defensively and they give you whatever they give you offensively, and the 7 other guys in the lineup, 6 other guys in the lineup are hitting, you could do a lot. And it is a very productive everyday lineup. And then you got to hope Max Fried figures it out. 888-808-1019. And he started off awful. That start against the Cardinals was obviously unacceptable. But if you're trying to look at it glass half full and you're trying to take a step in the right direction, he did, retire 11 of 12 batters at one point. So you got to hope that he builds off of that. Because if you get Fried going and you get the couple of guys back, pitchers-wise, healthy, and you add them to that bullpen, and maybe you can elongate the rotation a little bit with Yarborough, you're going to have an embarrassment of riches at that point. You're going to have a lot of tough decisions to make, but it's a good place to be. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan. To the phones we go. Kevin in Westchester. What's going on, Kevin? Kevin going once. I do not think he's there. So
Anthony Gallo.
What's up, Kev?
Hey, Zoo. What's up, my man? Let's also, with the culinary delights, let's throw in Tad's Steakhouse, because there's guys in this audience tonight who went to Tad's and had a $2 T-bone steak.
Well, I used to work over there, so I've been there before.
Right. Tad's is gone now. The last one disappeared a few years ago at Times Square.
Yeah, I used to work over on 51st Street when I worked on a very, as it's National Radio Day, and I'll dive into it a little bit later. I worked on a wrestling podcast with the great Taz, and it was right above where there's a Tad's.
Right. You must have had a few runs over there then, right?
Yeah, well, I had I had some runs, and I had the runs.
Nah, they never had no problems. I used to go to the one on 34th Street when I was young, when I was a kid. Like, it was a good steak, man. All right, now the Yanks. Let's look at it this way. They, like you said, they're going to beat up on the bad teams. It looks like the bad teams will start to pack it in, and then when that happens, the Yanks are just going to go wild. They'll beat up on them, and they're going to get into the playoffs. I don't see them not making it. No way. They're in. And then it's like what everybody used to say about the hot goalie. Well, you got to get the team's got to get hot now.
Right. Well, there is no goalie. There's no goalie here, so it's got to be the whole team. But if you look at the Mets last year, and I appreciate the call, Kev, as always. Gotcha, Kev. I knew what you were leading up to there. I love Kev. He always likes to get me going food-wise. But to the goalie point, there is no goalie here, but you do have to get hot at the right time. And it is a great analogy. Because look at the Mets last year. They played hot at the right time, and they were able to translate that into a deep October run. The Yankees were pretty consistent all year last year. They had a little bit of a dip, and then they started to take off again early August. And they got to the World Series. And yes, it's a little bit more of it's a deeper AL. But this team is slowly getting hot at the right time. Winning 8 of their last 11 games, I think it is. They're playing good baseball, fundamentally sound baseball, aggressive, hard-nosed baseball at the right time. And you could only beat the teams that are in front of you. If you beat up on bad teams, you're not backing into the playoffs. You're not getting into the playoffs ice cold just because you played well earlier in the year. And there are some tough teams left. And it starts this weekend with the Red Sox. Go out there and dominate the Red Sox. And if you split with them, all right, fine. You're still going to walk away with a piece of the lead with the first wild card. And then they get another easy week next week. You get the Nationals and the White Sox. And also, real quick, I don't know what MLB was thinking scheduling-wise, because you have both the Mets and the Yankees on the road right now. And then they both come home. The Mets are on the road this weekend again in Atlanta. Yankees come home for the Red Sox. But they're both home next week. And you got the U.S. Open. It's going to be a disaster. Take the train. But they have, in every stretch where they play good teams, because yes, after they play the Nationals and the White Sox, they do go into a really rough stretch. But it's their last, what was it? What do we have here? It's their last 12 games that actually are against good opponents. So you have the Red Sox series, you play the Nationals, you play the White Sox, and then to start September, you have the Astros, Blue Jays, Tigers, Red Sox. So 2 at home, 2 away. But then after that, you're playing the bottom of the league. And they can not only win meaningful games, so beating the Red Sox matters all the time, but with their struggles earlier in the year against the Red Sox, you go out there and take care of business, no one's going to care about what happened earlier in the year. If you take care of business against Toronto in that 3-game series in September, no one's going to care about what happened earlier in the year. You could beat up on a team all you want. They could, let's just say this. Let's say, they end up in the playoffs no matter what happens, but they lose that series to the Astros, and they play the Astros in the ALCS, and they're 1-5 against the Astros on the year. No one's going to care if you win that series. And it won't matter. It will not matter. The Mets had played the Dodgers very well last year. It didn't matter in the playoffs. It will not matter. Take care of business now. It doesn't matter against which opponents. Take care of business now. And march on into October. And you will be sitting. Think about where we were 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I wasn't sure if the Yankees or the Mets were even going to make the playoffs. And now I feel really good about their chances to run away with this first wild card. And even if they don't run away with it, I feel really good about their chances winning that spot. And we won't even think about the division right now in this moment. But you win that spot, you're hosting home playoff games. October baseball in the Bronx. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rowdy, loud. It is exactly where you want to be. Greasy dudes in white tees, talking about whatever the right fielder is his mother. I'll tell you this much. As a Met fan, I've watched a lot more Yankee playoff games than I have Mets playoff games. And the Bronx always delivers in October. And that's massive. And again, you get in. The goal is not just to get in, so don't get it twisted what I'm saying. They still have expectations. And this season is still a disappointment if they do not make a deep run in October. It doesn't matter if you recalibrated those expectations, that's not how this works. Same thing for the Mets. It doesn't matter if you recalibrated these expectations. The goal was deep October baseball. Yes, for the Yankees, they made it to the World Series last year. So that standard is higher. And for the Yankees, it's always higher. But if you get in and you're hosting home games and you win early, that's all it takes to get hot. How many times the Rangers, who do they play? The Diamondbacks. We've seen the Phillies do it. We've seen the Mets do it. Where a team gets in the wild card round, they get hot, and they take off for a deep run. The Phillies went to the World Series in 2022. The Diamondbacks and the Rangers. I'm almost certain that Rangers team was a wild card team. But the Diamondbacks and the Rangers got hot, got to the World Series. Anything's possible once you get there. And when you got the big guns going in Stanton and Judge and Bellinger, Goldschmidt. No, I'm not able to throw Ben Rice in there, but if he's going too, if the lineup is hitting and the starting pitchers are giving you quality outings every start and the bullpen is locked down, what else can you ask for? So take care of business against the Rays tonight. Schlittler versus Rasmussen. And go from there. I'm fired up. I mean, I've never really lost the Red Sox and Yankees has never lost the luster for me as just a baseball fan looking out as like an independent observer. But now it's finally really got that juice. I think if anything, again, I know Yankee fans don't want to hear this. I think if anything, the Yankees getting beat up on by the Red Sox early adds more juice to this series. The Red Sox are reeling right now. They can't beat anybody. They can't beat the bad teams. So it'll be a fun weekend. I got you all week, so I'll get, we'll be able to react together to at least the first game. 888-808-1019. I'm filling in for C-Mac. I got you all the way till 5 a.m. When we come back, Mets keep winning. The offense keeps hitting. And don't look now. They got another quality start. Is it something to get excited about? Or are they just beating up on bad teams? 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
The home of Yankees radio is WFAN, WFAN-FM, WFAN-FM HD1 New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
WFAN Sports Flash.
Sponsored by Primo Brands, the official water sponsor of MLB. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. And by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. The Yankees felt right at home at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Imagine that. The Yanks decimating the Rays 13-3 behind a 9-home run onslaught, helped by former Ray Jose Caballero, who put together his first career multi-homer game. Cody Bellinger and Giancarlo Stanton also went yard twice for the Bombers. Bellinger crediting Stanton's presence post-game with the fan Susan.
He can carry a team for sure. The preparation that we all see in the locker room it really is top tier. The mental side of the game, he's very good at the mental side of the game, and it's obviously why he's had so much success.
Just the fourth time in Major League history that a team has hit at least 9 home runs in a game, and this year's Yankees team has 2 of those, the other coming back in March, and igniting all that talk about the torpedo bats. Remember that? Maybe they do work. The Red Sox and Mariners both lost, so the Yankees are now in the top wild card spot in the American League. The Mets, they powered 4 home runs out of Nationals Park. David Peterson lasted 8 innings, striking out 10, and an 8-1 beatdown of the Nats. The Reds beat the Angels, so the Mets remain 1 game up for the final wild card spot in the NL. I'm Pete McCarthy.
New York sports is more than a game. It's a lifestyle. WFAN is the only place where Yankees, Mets, Giants, and Jets fans come together and sound off. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Gallo, back on the Fan, 888-808-1019. The city's biggest indoor pickleball event is coming back October 10th and 11th, and it will sell out. Sign up for the fun or for the cash prizes. Go to 1010wins.com/pickleball for all the info. The pickleball tournament is presented by Nissan. At Nissan, we make the cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. Before we jump into this Mets conversation, I do want to get to just one call real quick. Howie in Brooklyn, what's going on, Howie? Good morning.
Hi. A quick comment.
Yeah.
You knew Taz. That's really great.
I did. I worked on the Taz show, which was it used to be when we were still CBS. It was a part of our podcast group. I don't know who else was a podcast on there, but we did 5 days a week, video, all that. It was awesome. It was a fun time. Taz is a maniac. He's a good guy, though.
Yeah, but I ate in that Tap Steakhouse. That's why it rang a bell. The one that you ate on 51st Street.
Yeah, it was. There was like Tad's. There was a Tim Hortons over there. It was this old S&Y building. We worked on the opposite side of it, but it was that same building.
So it was Taz at Taz, basically, right?
Yeah, it was Taz hosted we did a little bit of sports, but Taz hosted every morning. We did like 2.5 hours, I think it was. Taz did wrestling. He did sports. And we had a lot of guests also. You know, Chris Jericho was on with us, Jim Ross, Kenny Omega when he was still, kind of not as mainstream as he is now. It was awesome. It was some of the, it wasn't the best in the world, pay-wise, but it was a lot of fun. I loved working with Taz.
And I love AEW. I prefer AEW over WWE any day of the week now.
Well, I am not the biggest AEW guy, but I do enjoy both of them. I am a sucker for, I don't get to watch either really outside of their pay-per-views, so it's tough for me to have like a very down-the-middle point of view.
Oh, okay. I'd like to make a comment about the pennant race, or whatever you want to call it now.
Let's hear
it. The Yankees are in, I agree with you. The problem is this. It's a problem, but a pleasant problem. Aside from playing the Tigers, the Astros, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays, all they have to do is win 6 out of the 12 games. It's the way, they're not going to lose out. Look at the schedule at the end of the year. They're playing top 400 teams.
The last 13 games of the season, they play all bad teams. And 6 of those games, they end the season at home with.
And so to me, it's like a waiting game. What is more interesting to me, of course, it is a waiting game, reality speaking, Judge versus Worley. If Worley hits 60 home runs and Judge bats 340, who's going to get the MVP?
Well, the problem is that little stretch where Judge was out may hurt him.
Yes.
For me, if the home run numbers, and I know everyone's bringing into the account that the guy is a catcher and he's a great defensive catcher and he runs the bases a little bit. For me, if the Yankees end up, Riley's also not been red hot. I know he's hit a few home runs over the last 5 games, but it's not like he's been super locked in. If the Yankees end up running away with this first wild card and they slide the Mariners and God forbid they miss the playoffs, then I could see Judge winning the MVP. Otherwise, I think we're going to see Cal win it. And I also think they're part of it, is voter fatigue, which I think is more of a new thing because, back in the day, nobody had voter fatigue. If MJ, I always said this, if Michael Jordan played today, he would have had one MVP because they wouldn't have voted for him because they'd be like, well, you could give it to him every year. The same way they do with Bron, and we saw how they treated Kobe back in the day. So I think Judge is so consistently good that they almost hold it against him at times. But I do think fairly, if the Mariners make the playoffs and Cal has a sizable lead in the home runs and he hits 60-plus homers, it's tough not to give it to him.
How about Shohei and the Schwarber then? I don't think it's much of a contest. According to the odds makers, Shohei is like an 8-1 favorite over Schwarber.
And it's crazy, too. Again, the problem is with Schwarber, and when you look at Ohtani I'm just bringing up their numbers real quick, and I appreciate the call, Howie. They have similar, numbers. The thing is, Schwarber's got so many more RBIs than Ohtani, and it's tough. And Schwarber's not a guy who hits for high average when he's on. Even at his best, he's been kind of that modern, baseball player, high on base, low average, hits a ton of homers. But this has been probably his best year. Ohtani's a higher OPS, and it's a little different because there's not that positional weight that you could say for either of those guys. They're both essentially DHs. I don't even know if Ohtani's played the outfield at all this year. And I think that is closer than Cal Raleigh and Judge right now. Just right now. It can all change. We didn't think the Lindor stuff was actually as close as we thought it was going to be till late in the season. But you have to be objective. If they give it to Judge, I'm not going to lose my mind. But you also, Cal Raleigh plays great. He's been healthy all year. He's a great defender. Has hit. My thing is, outside of home runs, there is such a drastic gap between the two players that I could see it. Right now, I don't know when this was last updated. This is August 19th, so it's fairly updated. Judge, on average, is still the favorite to win MVP, and I don't see it that way. And the NL MVP has a more drastic gap, which that one blows my mind. The fact that Schwarber is closer to Machado than he is Ohtani in the MVP odds. So it is possible. If the Mariners miss the playoffs and Judge keeps hitting like he's hitting as of late, which he's picking up from where he was earlier in the season prior to the injury, it's going to be tough. It's one of the more exciting MVP races we had in a long time. But I'll tell you this much. I'm sure I can't speak for Yankee fans. I'm sure Yankee fans would rather the postseason success than Judge win an MVP. At one point, I thought the Yankees were looking like they were going to, Fried was pitching so well early in the year, and you had Ben Rice started red hot, and Luke Weaver and Devin Williams were pitching well. I was like, what are the odds that they win, 3 or 4, 2, 3, 4 of these awards for Reliever of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all that. And then just, bookkeeping notes, Skubal looks like he's running away with the AL Cy Young. Skeens running away with the NL Cy Young. And then AL Rookie of the Year, Kurtz is absolutely running away with it. And then the NL Rookie of the Year is close. Isaac Collins and Drake Baldwin, two guys who have come on more recently. And then Horton on a lesser, he's a little bit outside looking in from those two. But it's worth noting that, the context does matter to what happens with your team. And does Judge being on what is perceived to be a better roster than the Mariners? It's not like that Mariners team is lacking talent, though, or lacking names. Offensively, a lot of guys have underperformed, specifically Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. It's not like Judge has had, Stanton just got back. Bellinger started slow. Coltsmith was hitting. Jazz didn't start fast. A lot of these guys didn't start super fast. So that shouldn't be held against them. But I do think it matters that if their numbers, if the average is the biggest gap, but their numbers are close, and, you're looking at a Gold Glove catcher, which I don't know. I'd have to really look into the odds to see who's leading that in the AL. But I also think that it's a thing that is more common nowadays, where we almost hold it against, all-time great players that are currently active. Like, there's a few years that, it shouldn't even be close to me. And Judge, they're like, well, he could win it every year. And it's like, well, he should win it every year then. This isn't the, let's give a guy a chance award. It's not like the All-Star game, where this year you could have made the argument that maybe Lindor shouldn't have been in the All-Star game. A guy like Trey Turner could have been in. But they're giving it to him because last year he was clearly robbed of it. It's the MVP. It should be given to the most valuable player every year. It bothers me in the NBA. They do it a lot. This year was a little closer than it's been made out to be before. Like SGA, I think, was the MVP. But again, they hold it against Jokic. They've done it to LeBron. NFL's a little different because you have MVP and then you have offensive and defensive player of the year and like all these different awards. Basketball and baseball, I feel like the MVP really holds so much weight. Because baseball, how many all-time greats are there that just never got the chance to be around great players to have a chance to win? So I do think the awards, and the NBA, everyone gets in the Hall of Fame, so who even cares? But for baseball, how many of these guys, like, we've seen it. Like, you could be, look at Mike Trout. You know, for 10 years, he put up, you know, only like 5 or 6 guys ever did put up a 10-year span like that, like DiMaggio and Pujols, Trout. And he's played in how many playoff games? His MVPs are what's going to get him into the Hall of Fame. And I see this question a lot, and I feel like it's more valid every year that Stanton continues to get hot in September and hit in October. I mean, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Obviously, I think he's got to hit 500 to be a Hall of Famer, and he will. He's at 443 right now. I assume that's updated on the MLB website. You know, in 2 years, he'll be at 500. The guy's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. He wasn't going to hit 600. He should have been pushing closer to 600 without the injuries. You know, with the Yankees, he's battled injuries so much. You know, 2019, he missed basically the whole season. You know, all of these guys, you know, name any guy that, you know, is Machado, Trout, Judge, Stanton, Bryce Harper, you know, even Albert Pujols were, you know, robbed of numbers with that 2020 season. But, you know, 2019, he barely plays. You know, 2016, he got hurt. 2015, he got hurt. You know, if he's averaging, you know, 130 at least in his career, games-wise, he's pushing 600. And for the Yankees, it hasn't always been great. But he's been their most clutch hitter since Derek Jeter's retired. 888-808-1019. You know, we've talked Yankees. We got to get into the Mets. Is it finally okay for me to get excited about what I've seen from the Mets? Or is it, you know, too early to call? I'm not sitting here guaranteeing anything, but we'll get in that. We'll talk a little, you know, National Radio Day. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
Here's a high drive right field. Line drive, goodbye.
The Yankees and Rays play ball. 7:35 tonight. Driven by Jeep.
That was an extraordinary play.
Susan Waldman and Dave Sims call all of the action. The home of Yankees baseball is the Fan. 101.9 FM and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Whether you're heading out on a road trip or planning a weekend escape, make every mile unforgettable in a Mercedes-Benz from Mercedes-Benz of Edison. From sporty SUVs and timeless sedans to cutting-edge hybrids, their expert team will help you find the perfect fit. Mercedes-Benz of Edison has over 400 new and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. And with flexible lease and finance offers, getting behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz has never been easier. Mercedes-Benz of Edison, the Tri-State's premier destination for luxury driving.
Injured? Don't be a whiner. Call me, attorney Mark Miner. I'm Mark Miner, and I have over 30 years of experience handling personal injury cases. If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. You can trust that the personal injury law firm of Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner will treat you with respect and fight for your rights. Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE for a free consultation. Our goal is to transform your pain into payment. If there is no recovery, there is no fee. We handle all types of accident cases and value the opportunity to help you. The sooner you call, the better. If you are injured, call 1-800-LAW-LINE so we can discuss how to transform your pain into payment. Don't be a whiner. Call Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner at 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner, personal injury attorneys.
Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. That's 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Town Fair Tire is Connecticut's largest name brand discount tire dealer. We give you the guaranteed lowest prices on all name brand tires and honor all manufacturers' rebates. We even honor our competitors' rebates. With over 100 stores from Connecticut through New England and an inventory of over 600,000 tires, you'll always get the right tire at the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody!
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
With over 90 years of combined legal experience representing the law enforcement community, Decolator Cohen and DePrisco, LLP, continues to strive to educate police officers of their civil rights to sue in line-of-duty accident cases. The 2025 Police Officers' Right to Sue newsletter can be viewed on policeofficersrighttosue.com and provides successful results in varying line-of-duty accident cases. These results include damages recovered from RMP accidents involving the City of New York and civilian motorists, station house defects, ricochet injuries from the range, private premises slip and falls, sidewalk slip and falls, construction defects, snow and ice cases, and injuries emanating from defective RMPs. In any LOD accident, it is important for the officer to take photographs of any defects, injuries, or damage. It is also essential to draft the line-of-duty report and detail the cause of the accident in the paperwork. Remember, there's a 90-day time limitation to file a claim against a municipality. If any law enforcement member has a question regarding a potential lawsuit, contact Decolator Cohen and DePrisco, LLP at policeofficersrighttosue.com or call 1-800-901-1529.
With baseball in full swing, there's never a dull moment or a shortage of thrills in this league. The thrills are nothing new at Bay Ridge Mazda. Tired of that clunker you've been driving? Just bring it into Bay Ridge Mazda for up to $2,000 over book value all month long. The time is now to make a trade. Head over to the place where everybody wins, Bay Ridge Mazda, located on 4th Avenue and 90th Street, or buy your car direct at BayRidgeMazda.com and have it delivered to your door. That's Bay Ridge Mazda, 4th Avenue and 90th Street in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Put WFAN in your contact list. 888-808-1019. Powered by Paramount Plus. Count on Sundays all season long with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Eight 1019 Anthony Gallo on the Fan. I've got you all the way till 5 a.m. And I've got you the next two nights as well as we gear up for what should be an awesome baseball weekend. You know, get a little bit. I think the Giants are on Thursday night against the Patriots, so you get a little bit of some more Jackson Dart action. And that's the last of the preseason games, but then we get two huge series. And it sucks that we have to look at this Mets series and say, oh, it's a huge series. One, because of their recent play, and two, just how much they've struggled against this version of the Braves over the last 5 years. But a little bit of optimism creeping in for my Metsies. And I just want to touch on this real quick. I know I'm getting on a little bit of a tangent. We were talking about the MVP stuff. And it's so funny because coming into the year, and I was very high on this guy too, and not that he's having a bad year, but Bobby Witt was, looked at as the guy who was going to compete with Judge for the AL MVP. He's not in the top four. It's the two obvious guys in Raleigh and Judge, and then Ramirez and Bo Bichette. But then his numbers also just are not up to MVP snuff. But when it comes to the Mets, and there's my little tangent on that. When it comes to the Mets and where the offense has been now for, I think it's 7 of the last 15 games, they've scored at least 6 runs. But what I needed to see, and again, this is not like a huge test because they're playing the Nationals and Peterson owns the Nationals. But now, this is 4 of their last 5 games that they've gotten good starts. Senga on Thursday, which they ultimately lost the game, but it was not Senga's fault. Senga on Thursday, Saturday from Nolan McLean, and Sunday from Clay Holmes. They're on a 3-game win streak now. You hope to make it 4 tonight. And I'm starting, to feel that excitement. You get Senga tonight against Brad Lord, whoever the hell that is. And then you get Sean Manaea, who desperately needs to come up. I know it's the Nationals, but he cannot go out, and both of these guys cannot go out there and pitch duds. And they got to get you to at least 5 innings. You got lucky because you get the day off. You get a great start out of Peterson. I mean, this guy works quick, works efficiently, strikes guys out while being able to, throw strikes. But he had 10 strikeouts tonight. He was at 80-something pitches when he got to the 9th. And he finished with 96 pitches. And that's what giving up the triple and the walk in that 9th inning. I mean, in the 8th inning, sorry. In the 8th inning. It gives you 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits, 1 earned run. And the earned run was, we were just looking to get his second complete game this year. But he's such a throwback. But you start to look at the offense is clicking. And even in those losses, they were hitting. Like I said, 7 of the last 15 games, they've scored at least 6 runs. I think 2 or 3 times they've scored less than 3 runs in that period. And not that 3 runs is anything to go home about, but just where the consistency in this offense is coming from. And it's coming from the big guys. And Vientos is starting to hit, which is another big thing. You get the news about Alvarez today, and it sucks. And, me and Fleegs were talking about it in break. Is it bad news? Is it good news? Is it not really? It's just in between. We'll see where it is. And we'll probably see him hopefully mid-September if everything goes okay. Because I'm assuming there's no repercussion if he hurts that finger more. I think they were saying on the broadcast it's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks to recover from when he gets the surgery. But he could do that in the offseason. And it's the same injury, and I might be dating myself a little bit. The year Pedroia won the MVP, it's the same injury he suffered before the season started, and he was able to play through it. And it shouldn't affect his throwing. They said it will probably be more his grip on the bat that'll hurt. But, you get another big game from Mark Vientos, and you get something from, what has otherwise been a lifeless bat in Luis Torrens. It was a late double, but you like to see that to build some confidence for him. But you got the offense clicking. You're starting to see, hopefully, a trend where the starting pitching is getting better. And the next 2 nights, I know it's against the Nationals, but the next 2 nights where you have Senga on the mound and Manaea before McLean, Holmes, and Peterson pitch against the Braves this weekend, you hope that these guys can first give you good starts, but also give you good starts with length. It would be nice to see them both get into the 6th inning. Senga, his last start, got into the 6th inning. He should have gotten to later into the game in that start against Milwaukee, but he couldn't field that ground ball. And Manaea needs to be better. These guys go out there, continue the trend. And the bullpen, they had the night off tonight, so you get the day off plus a long start from Peterson, and guys are rested. And hopefully this is the start of them building something. And they do not have an easy schedule. For them coming up, they have the opposite of what the Yankees have. They have a gauntlet. And now for Vientos over his last, 6 games. He's continuing to hit. So he needs to continue. In August, his average is still low, but he is being more consistent. He's got a couple of multi-hit games, extra bases, RBIs, back-to-back games with a home run. So if he gives you something, this Mets lineup can't just rely on just 3 guys to carry the team, especially with Alvarez out. So you're going to need a guy like Vientos to go on a run like he did last year. They're going to need McNeil to be more consistent. Nimmo needs to get his head out of his ass and start playing better. So they need to go and push. But it's okay. I'm in on this right now. I was out a week ago. I'm back in. I'm not telling you they're winning anything. They didn't build. All they did the last 2 wins was not lose ground to the Phillies or have the Reds gain ground on them. But they're starting to put together consistent offense and consistent starting pitching. And you hope that the next time we see Helsley in a big spot, he shows up and he's the guy that we think he is, the guy that he's been his whole career. And now you have a bullpen that's rounding in the form. You know, where the Yankees are right now, the Mets need to get to that point where they're playing hot. And whether it's a good thing or not, they have everything right in front of them. You know, they have this stretch right here where they have 2 more against the Nationals and 3 against the Braves. And you have that series against the Phillies next week to start. You know, you take 3 of the next 5 going into that Phillies series. You start to build something. And then the Phillies come and maybe you chip away at the lead a little bit. But the focus right now has got to be surviving the Reds. Maybe you gain ground. You know, the Padres won tonight. The Mets got no help tonight. The Cubs won. I mean, the Cubs swept the Brewers. But the Cubs won. The Padres won. The Reds won. They got 0 help. The Phillies won. And on the inverse, where the Yankees are looking at teams that are all playing poorly right now, the Mets are looking at all teams they're the one that's playing poorly compared to them. But there's a lot to get excited about here. I'm not saying get ahead of yourself. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not even going to tell you my hope is not built in confidence. I'm not sitting here like how I feel about the Yankees speaking about it with the Mets. But if they go out and you see something from Senga, because the thing with Senga and I, it's not even like they're just struggling against good teams. They've struggled against the bad teams too. Go out there and give us something tonight, Senga. You know, don't have that one. The one thing with these 2 guys is it feels like they always have that one inning. You know, Peterson and Holmes have been pretty consistent. You know, they've had their bad starts, but they've been pretty consistent. It feels like Senga and Minaya, specifically when Manaya's gone back, obviously he hasn't been here all year. They just have that one inning where everything gets away from them. 888-808-1019. Eric and Ronkonkoma. What's going on, Eric?
What's going on, Gallo? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? Good morning.
Good, good. You know, so before I get to the Mets, since it was the topic of conversation the last couple of nights, did our annual friendlies visit to celebrate the kids going off to college? You know, so...
well, you know, you could have helped me out the other night and told me, you know, obviously you told me later, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's like 1 friendlies left in the country, and then there turns out there's like 105.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I heard it, that's when I sent it, because I didn't hear the initial, comment on this. So when I heard that, that's why I sent you the text. But yeah. Well, I mean,
so real quick, what did you guys get? Before we jump into the Mets, what did you get?
Well, okay. First off, I got to tell you, because it was a mixture of things, that we got. But let me tell you something. The appetizer, we went for the Muncie Mania thing. That thing was so small.
Man, you're killing them right now.
The mozzarella sticks were like the size of my pinky.
Well, they're tiny. I didn't know where you were going with that.
No, I know, but I mean, these were like, and they gave us like barely any of them, which was like, it was really, I wouldn't say upsetting, but it's almost like, all right, things are getting a little out of hand with, some of these places cutting back on.
Well, no, that's where it's been like that. Well, I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. It was like that when I was there. The mozzarella sticks were really tiny.
No, but
we would just make, we would do is we would make a ton of mozzarella sticks and you put them in the basket and then you walk by and you sneak a couple. You're not supposed to eat them. You're supposed to, you got to pay for everything, even when you work there, but you would sneak a couple, skim a little off the top.
Yeah, but it was just, I don't know. It didn't feel very fulfilling. I don't know what, but anyway, I mean, we like I said, we did it for the kids because we started doing that when they all started going to college. So we keep keeping the
that's nice
going. So,
and it's that time of the year.
So, right, exactly. Look, so what I appreciated most last night, when you mentioned Peterson, was the efficiency of his pitching. Because typically when you get a lot of strikeouts, you tend to have a higher pitch count. But he went right after him, and like you said, he had a relatively low pitch count, all things considered.
Well, that's my biggest thing is he got into that 8th inning and he had 80 pitches.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, which was great. I mean, there's so many times these guys get ahead in the count, and then they start nibbling like crazy, and it's like, what are you doing? I mean, you got ahead of them, just keep going last year, where you going, and sometimes you got to let the defense, you got to trust the defense behind you, pitch the contact sometimes, if you have I don't care if they have a low strikeout rate, but if you get the outs behind you, that's what, well,
that was the other thing too, Eric, is he wasn't just getting strikeouts. He also got a ton of ground balls. So you knew he was completely locked in. And I know it's the Nationals, and it's just, Woods and a bunch of guys that are struggling right now. Abrams is okay, but he went out there and he did his job. How many times have we seen Mets pitchers, over the last 2.5 months, even against bad teams, go out there and not be able to do their jobs?
Yep. No, absolutely. So that, you got to hope, and you did say it a couple of minutes ago about, a lot of times these guys run into that one inning where, now, granted, it could be due to an error or, a couple of lucky bounces, as far as hits, whatever. But a lot of times these guys lose their composure on the mound, and it's like, all right, you got to brush it off. I mean, most of these guys who pitch for them, except for McLean, obviously, most of these guys are not rookies, so they should be able to handle the adversity, so to speak.
Well, and the biggest thing is, it's so funny. I appreciate the call, Eric, as well. I'm sorry that your friendlies meal wasn't as good. But it's funny he mentions that, because when you look at the guys, Peterson's handled the pressure and stepping up well. You can't really, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Nolan McLean's going to be fine the entire time. But he went out there and stepped up while they were reeling. But the two guys who you thought were going to lead this staff, and Clay Holmes has been good. That's what he is. He's been good. He's a modern pitcher. That's just what he is. 5 innings, solid pitching. But the two guys you thought were going to anchor the staff and carry you have been the ones that have struggled the most. That's the biggest thing that's bothered me. And I am a huge Senga guy. I thought Senga was, and he showed us early in the year that he's clearly got the stuff. Maybe he's not 100%, and he needed to learn, from the reports that he was so used to in Japan not having to come back from injury unless he was 100%, and he realizes in the major leagues you're expected to be out there if you could pitch, even if you're not 100%. You're supposed to be out there, specifically with non-arm injuries. So maybe he's still navigating, I forget what the injury was, his injury from earlier in the year when he hurt himself on June 12th. And then Minaya, I'm going to give him a little bit more of a breather. But tonight he's got to go out and show me something. He's been back now for a little bit. It's time to step up. Earn those contracts. 888-808-1019. We'll get back to your calls. We'll continue the Mets conversation. Is it concerning losing Alvarez more than just obviously the baseline that you just lost your starting catcher? Who steps up for the Mets? Is it Vientos? Do we see McNeil maybe get hot? Is it one of the third basemen that isn't Vientos and Beatty? And Beatty's been good. So we'll get into that. We'll continue your calls. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
It's Keith McPherson at night on the Fan, 101.9 FM.
As a manager, getting to know his potential closer, I'm pretty sure this guy's going to get the first crack at it. He let this guy go out and finish the job, and I'm telling you, that type of stuff the team can build off of.
Listen to Keith McPherson on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, New York. Looking for a great deal to stay connected? Now, for a limited time, Verizon's offering Fios home internet and 1 line of mobile for just $69.99. Yes, that's right, just $69.99 per month. Get unlimited welcome for $50 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees when you bring your phone. And add Fios for just $19.99 per month with autopay, mobile plus home discount, and bonus discount. Visit your tri-state area Verizon store today to get this limited time offer and switch to our 100% fiber optic network and reliable 5G network. Fios. For eligible new Fios Internet and mobile customers, Fios $15 monthly bonus discount applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. $99 Fios setup charge applies. Bring your phone. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off and to wear a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Imagine a gentleman's club with over 200 gorgeous exotic dancers every week.
Hey, big boy.
From the people who make fantasies come true, Gallagher's 2000 in Long Island City is the place to be. Gallagher's 2000, a gentleman's club for today, gentlemen. Gallagher's 2000 features 2 floors, 3 stages, discounted drinks, VIP, champagne rooms, and dinner specials every night. Gallagher's 2000 offers complimentary lunch Thursdays and Fridays with any drink purchase.
Come on down, big boy.
Gallagher's 2000 is New York's largest upscale gentleman's club, and Gallagher's 2000's bachelor parties will blow you away. For their bachelor party specials, call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is located at 4319 37th Street in Long Island City, Queens, just a half a block north of Queens Boulevard. Call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is unlike any club in New York. Come tonight for the time of your life. Gallagher's 2000.
Let your imagination run wild.
This is J.J. Hill of Shulman & Hill, New York's premier injury law firm. We'll always stand up for you if you're injured in a slip and fall. If you've ever wished you had a lawyer in the family, now you will. At Shulman & Hill, it's never one and done. Once you're a client, you're always part of our family. Shulman & Hill, we're not just New York's law firm, we're your law firm. Get your free consultation at hurtny.com. That's hurtny.com.
Connecticut's best value is at Town Fair Tire. They honor all manufacturer and valid competitor rebates, offer the most free services for life, plus give you the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody!
Town Fair Tire.
At City Harvest, we're on the road every day rescuing millions of pounds of nutritious food for New Yorkers in need, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh my God.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Talk New York sports here. The Fan.
Ironically enough, the guy who gave me my start is standing in the control room right now in Eddie Scazzeri. I did 2 internships here. I did Infinity Sportsnet, which was CBS at the time, and then The Fan. And when I did the second interview, Eddie's like, well, it's yours. And then we talked about why I cut my hair for an hour. So, and I had, promised my father that if I didn't get a job at that point, I would cut my hair. And then I came in here, and Eddie scolded me, essentially, for cutting my hair. And then we talked a little bit of Lord of the Rings, and now I'm here. 888-808-1019. Stuart in Brooklyn, what's up, Stu? You there, Stu? Did you just die?
No. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
The rocket tickets.
Stuart, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. You scared me there a little bit.
No, I'm fine. But this. Now you wonder what happened all that time when they were sleepwalking.
Well, it happens. This is the baseball season, Stu.
Yeah, but it got.
And I bet you feel a little bit better about Brian Cashman and his moves at the deadline now.
No.
No, you don't.
I still told you, Anthony, and I've been saying it for years. Mr. Boone, Mr. Cashman, I can't get rid of the owner, although I would love to, but we can't do that because he's not going to sell the team. And Mr. Williams, yes, still Mr. Williams, because you can never put that man ever. Let him sniff even the 8th or 9th innings.
But
I wouldn't even trust him in the 7th.
But why are we being negative right now? The Yankees are on a heater.
Negative.
You're focusing on the negative, Stu. You're focusing. Put the tickets away for the rocket ship and get excited.
I'm getting excited because you know why he's getting me excited?
Why is that?
Big G. Oh my God! Again, here we go. He's getting on a roll.
He's red hot.
Oh my! And when he's red hot, is anybody? No, there are not too many players that are better than him.
No.
And he's red hot.
His ceiling is higher than the average player. When he is healthy and his power, like he's not just hitting for power right now. I mean, he's hitting over 300 on the season.
Right.
But when he's hitting the ball like that, and no one hits the ball, outside of maybe Judge and Ohtani, nobody hits the ball as hard as he does consistently.
No, nobody hits the ball as hard as him. Not even Judge or Ohtani. No.
And
nobody.
He is scary when he's on. And it's so crazy to think about this. Every time him and Judge are both healthy, both hitting the ball, which has been few and far between, they're one of the more unstoppable teams. Like, we've just haven't seen it a lot.
We haven't seen it enough. Anthony, we haven't seen it enough. And they have to stay healthy. Just like you said about Alvarez. Hopefully this is not a major deal, so he can stay healthy because he's starting to hit.
Right.
And then the pitching, well, I'm not a backer of Carlos Rodon, but I got to give him his props.
Look at that, Stu.
He's been unbelievable. The man goes out there, usually 6-7 innings every time out. Max Fried should take a note from Carlos Rodon.
The Mets should take a note from Carlos Rodon, and I appreciate the call.
Definitely.
I appreciate the call, Stu. Come on, Stu. You know what? Maybe I jumped on him a little too quickly there, and maybe he was being a little bit more positive than I thought he was. But you can't focus on the negative right now. There's nothing outside of Max Fried. Is there anything negative to focus on with the Yankees? 888-808-1019. Val in the Bronx. What's going on, Val?
Good Gallo. What's going on, my man? Good morning.
Good morning to you, dude.
I got like 3 Yankee points I want to throw at you, but real quick. Let me just mention something with your music taste.
I'm
gonna ask you, Dr. Buzzard's Savannah Band. Are you familiar with them?
Who?
Dr. Buzzard's Savannah Band.
I don't think I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell it to you in a way that you might understand. You a Ghostface fan, right?
Yeah, huge Ghostface fan.
Okay, 2 samples: Shay Shay La Ghost, and Ghost Showers.
Okay, this is where he gets it from.
The songs that he sampled, you got to look up.
I'm looking at it right now. I definitely will check it out.
Check it out, because for your taste, I think you would like that.
Okay.
The whole album that those 2 songs are featured on, Shay Shay La Femme and Sun Showers. It's a beautiful album, but those 2 songs, I said it to you like that so that you could see, what I mean?
They're from the Bronx. Okay, very cool.
And if you know anything about Tommy Latola, he was part of that band.
Okay, I know the name. I'm not going to act like I know a lot about him, but awesome. I'll definitely check him out. I love, part of, being such a big hip-hop fan, my mom and my dad, obviously, huge Motown and disco fans, but a lot of being such a big hip-hop fan is also discovering music just because of the samples and what was, used to create these beats.
Like that.
Yeah,
that's why I said it to you like that. Because it goes back to something I got from my aunt. God rest her soul, she passed away. But the first time I ever heard that, she had it on a 45 with a little RCA with the little doggy on the top with that bugle, the old record player or whatever. She had it on that 45. But let me get you my Yankee points real quick. My three Yankee points. My first one, Brother Mac, you keep giving him his respect because it's his show.
I am filling in for him right now.
He always says something like, you hear the talk about they look listless. They look like they're not focused. They're not doing things. When they losing, it all is magnified. When you winning, imagine how different this is. All right? You got Volpe patting Caballero on the shoulder when he makes an error like, yo, come on, it's all right, let's get it.
Yeah.
A week or two ago, 3-4 weeks ago, Volpe was the whipping boy that needed somebody to pat him on the shoulder. Like when you win and everything, there's a focused kind of aggression that they have right now with their energy. It's just different. And C-Mac says it all the time, it's because they win and it feels like that. But there's a different energy that's with them, And if I could, just 2 more points as well. What you said about Benyard, I always have problem pronouncing his name.
Which one?
I'll close it out.
Bednar, yes.
Bednar. I'm sorry, Bednar. Thank you.
You don't have to apologize. If you've listened to me enough, I barely can pronounce anyone's name, so it's okay.
He has actually kind of rekindled the dream that had Aaron Boone running Devin Williams out as much as he was and kept trying him and trying to rehab that, because what they're getting right there, you said it before, what Bednar allows us to do right now is get right back to that dream where Luke Weaver becomes the weapon that we can deploy anywhere from 7, 8, or 9, depending on how we feel. And that is a critical thing for what we need. So shout out to Bednar and shout out to that, because, that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just to give you one negative, though.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
One negative, though. The one thing I didn't like, and it was a big thing that got a spotlight today, but it started a few days ago now. He's been chirping this thing I don't like how this is the one time I wish the Yankees were actually more murky with how they were talking about the injury status or the half injury status with my man Aaron Judge.
Right.
Because right now, as much as this thing, it was going to happen anyway, but you put a big spotlight on it for the whole league to see. And you got to imagine that as soon as they put him out in the field, that first day that they do that, it's moments in the game that come up. But anytime that somebody has a chance to go at him, they're going to test his arm. And not that I'm scared that he can't make the challenge if they do test him. But I just don't want him testing himself like that, because Judge is the kind of guy that will go out. If he sees something where he knows that he can help the team, he might forget himself and do something and that's why I wish this was the one time I wish they were more murky.
I will say this, Aaron Judge and Val, Aaron Judge did push back on it. So
I know he did, but I'm just saying, like, the ripple effects of it. You know what I'm saying? As far as what it means tomorrow for things that happen as far as other teams and how they perceive it. I just don't like that spotlight. Like I said, they were going to everybody knew that this is what it was anyway, and it was chances are they were going to. But now it's like a big kind of like bloop, 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 like a neon sign. Yo,
I get it. But to be fair, Val, to be fair, and I appreciate the call, man. Great call as always. To be fair, they were going to test him whether that came out or not. Like, let's be honest. Like, I don't think he added. I think if anything, I'd fear more like Boone and Judge rifting, but that's not happening. And I don't think you wouldn't know it's happening. And the fact that they've been open the way Judge was today in response to what Boone said to BT and Sal. But they were going to test him either way. It's like the Mets outfield. Whether they, if they don't have anybody who could throw the ball in the outfield, Taylor's about the only one. They're going to test these guys either way. They know Judge is banged up. It doesn't matter if these reports ever came out or not. They were going to be like, well, we got to take a chance. And if you didn't hear, this is essentially what BT and Sal, Boone was like, we're trying to get through where he can let it go with ease and be able to protect himself. I don't think we're going to see him back to throwing like he normally does at any point this year, but that's okay too. We've got to feel like he could go out there and be able to protect himself and represent himself. And then Judge said later, I don't know why he said that. He hasn't seen me throw for the past 2 weeks, so I'm pretty confident I'll get back to 100%. And then Boone later said, maybe I overstated that. So a little friction, never hurt anybody. But it is something that is noted. But if they never said this, if we never got any information outside of the fact that it was an arm injury to Judge, I still would have thought that whenever he started playing the outfield again, teams were going to test him more. That's just smart by the opposing team. You know, if the third baseman has a problem with his throwing arm, you're going to lay down a bunt. Or if he's like struggling with a soft tissue injury on his legs, you're going to lay down a bunt and hope you push the matter. Take advantage of what might be a weakness at that moment. So I understand the concern. I don't really think whether he said that or not is going to change anything. And if anything, maybe Judge does get back to 100% and they dupe somebody into taking an extra base on him and he throws him out. Getting him in the outfield is just key because you want to have Stanton in the lineup every day. And you don't want to have to worry about him, tweaking. It's crazy to think that this guy plays the field and they need to give him a day off every couple times he plays the field. As much as I praise them, I can be objective. But you want Stanton to be able to, last the entire rest of the season in the playoff run. You want to have, if Judge can't throw the ball, you still want to have that range in right field. You want to have him be able to cover. Because, let's assume, left field is Bellinger, center field's Grisham, right field's Judge, and then you got McMahon, Volpe, Jazz, Goldschmidt, and Ben Rice playing those positions. Ben Rice is probably the one guy you worry about defensively because even if Judge's arm isn't 100%, he's still a great outfielder. Like, he's still a guy who plays the field really well. Yes, the arm matters. And that's a drastically different lineup. McMahon is great at third. I still believe Volpe has the talent. He carries his offensive woes in the field sometimes. He's clearly a good shortstop. Jazz is a good second baseman. He makes some bonehead throws sometimes. And Goldschmidt's a good first baseman. And then you suffer a little bit of a drop-off with Ben Rice to Austin Wells. But all of that lineup right there with Stanton at DH is your best offensive lineup. It's probably your best defensive lineup, too. Because it's not like we all, Dominguez all of a sudden was going to be in there for defense when you guys spent most of the year ripping the guy for not being able to play the field. Infield-wise, especially outside of catcher, that's Teflon. That's a great third, short, second, first base combo. And in the outfield, yes, what Judge lacks in throwing, he's still going to be great with his range and covering right field at Yankee Stadium. And Grisham is a Gold Glove center fielder. And Bellinger is a very skilled outfielder. So I don't think it's something to panic about. And I think the key here is if the offense is going, they could slug their way into anything right now. They do everything. They hit for contact. They're able to work counts. They could kill you on any mistake. They run the bases better. They've certainly been looking way more fundamental, both obviously defensively, but, the point of the matter right now is in the base paths. They've been aggressive. They've been fundamentally sound while being aggressive without being reckless. So it's exciting. There's nothing right now you could tell me, like I said, like Val, that was, a valid criticism, even if I disagreed with him, to point out that. But on the field, there's nothing you could tell me right now outside of Max Fried's performance over his last 9 starts, that concerns me about the Yankees because everything is going their way. The bullpen's going their way. The offense is mashing. And 4 of their 5 starting pitchers have been very consistent, very good. And you hope it continues tonight. You get Schlittler on the mound against Rasmussen. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Rays pitching staff, Rasmussen's probably, if not their best starting pitcher, he's one of their best. I'm not going to tell you that I know all 5 of their guys off the top of my head. You go take care of business tonight, and you go into Thursday night's kickoff of the Red Sox final trip to Yankee Stadium with that 4-game series, looking to do damage. You know, you'll get Schlittler tonight, and then I'm assuming it's going to be Heel, Fried, Warren for the first 3 games, and then unless they go with an opener on Sunday night, or maybe they go opener Saturday, and they have Warren pitch the Sunday night game. And the Red Sox, I don't know who their Sunday night pitcher is going to be, but you're facing their 3 best starters right now in Giolito. I think it's Bayo is how you say his name. And then Garrett Crochet, who, if it wasn't for Skubal, I think Crochet would be the Cy Young, would be running away with the Cy Young. Yeah, he's plus 225. Skubal is minus 275. And then Hunter Brown and Nate Eovaldi follow them. So they have to still take care of business tonight. But you go into that situation, and things are starting to look up. And if you take care of business against the Red Sox tonight, you have the Nationals and the White Sox to finish the month. And then you go on to September with maybe a decently wide gap between you and the next wildcard team. Maybe in those games, the Blue Jays drop a couple, and the division seems more like a real possibility. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan, filling in for C-Mac. I got you for one more hour. We'll jump back into the baseball conversation. We'll have a little bit more fun until the warm-up guys at 5 a.m. Anthony Gallo on the Fan.
Wake up with Boomer and Gio. Mornings 6 to 10 on WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York, and Odyssey Sports Station.
WFAN Sports Flash.
Brought to you by Primo Brands, the official water sponsor of MLB. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. The Yankees hit back-to-back-to-back home runs in the first inning, and they never stopped. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton doing the early damage. Plenty followed as the Yanks hit 9 home runs in a 13-3 win over the Rays. It's only the 4th time in Major League history a team has hit 9 homers in a game, and it's the 2nd time the Yankees have done it this season. Cody Bellinger with the Fan's Susan Waldman postgame.
Judge, he really got us going there in the first with the absolute moonshine. For me, just wanted to put together a good at bat. G coming in after, and overall, I think as a team, it was just really, it was just fun. It was just, obviously a really good day.
A historic day, and the Yankees take over the top wild card spot thanks to losses by the Red Sox and Mariners. The Mets settled for a 4-home run outburst in D.C. Most importantly for them, David Peterson lasted 8 innings, striking out a season-high 10 Nationals. Mets roll 8-1. They remain a game ahead of the Reds for the final NL wild card spot. It's the Reds won in Anaheim. And the Liberty take down the WNBA best Minnesota Lynx 85-75. I'm Pete McCarthy.
Real sports talk for real fans with real opinions. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Chris is still off, discovering his heritage, getting in touch with his roots in Italy. And Al Cintron will be on Evan and Tiki or BT and Sal. But this is now my 13th, 14th year in radio, and I've been very blessed to have this opportunity and be here, and it's because of a lot of people. Like I said, Eddie hired me and has been awesome. I always an ear to listen to, and I've been lucky to work with, everyone I grew up idolizing, really. I got to work with Steve, and Steve was my favorite radio host of all time, as crazy as that sounds. As a younger guy, I adored Steve, and I got to work with Tony, who was the man, and I was work with Craig and Evan and Tiki and Joe, and I got to work on the morning show, which if it's not for those guys, I'm not in this position. I got to work with Mike. I was on the infamous Mike's On app, and I've been in this industry grinding for years. Westchester Knicks. Like I said, I worked on the Taz show. But yeah, I'm not in this position if it's not for, one, Mike, because, he took care of me after the app was done and made sure I came back here. And then, Boomer and Gio really introduced me to you guys, and that's how I ended up here. And, Gio, vouched for me when Spike took over and, Hurley. And I'm not in this position, Boomer, Gio, but specifically really Gio. I'm not in this spot without them. So I've been very blessed. Eddie, Gio, Mike. So it's been a fun journey. I grew crazy as it is. I know my voice sounds the way it does, but I am not as old as my voice sounds, being only 33. But I've idolized this station since I was a kid. My high school yearbook, I've achieved half of what it said was I working at the Fan and married to Beyonce. So, I hope my girlfriend isn't listening, so she won't love that. But, half the dream. Jay-Z, watch out, buddy. But, I've gotten to work with a lot of great people, and I've learned a lot, and I get to talk to you guys and do this, which is awesome. And it's a cheesy holiday, but it's one of those ones that I get to reflect. And, not for a lack of hard work, because I've busted my ass to get here, and I continue to bust my ass, with the digital team. But this station is a part of my life, huge life. Before here, getting here, and now I've developed a family. Being around these guys and being, have my hands in everything is awesome. So we never take it for granted. So, without the morning show guys, without Mike, Taz, where we've done funny things, over there, everything, I'm not in this position. So it's always fun. Every night I get excited to be here. I get jacked up. The lack of sleep doesn't matter being in this spot. So it's very cool. And I love talking to you guys. Even the people who can't stand me, I love talking to them too. So I never really get to do that. So I wanted to show some love. Obviously Ryan and Spike, play a huge part too in my thing. But, if it's not for Gio, if it's not for Mike, I'm not in this position. I'm probably, laying cement or, plumbing, doing something like that. The hard jobs, the jobs that are, a hard day work. This is not hard. This is fun. The grind was the grind, but so is everything else. So I'm very blessed. And, it is National Radio Day. So I want to share a little bit about that. But enough about me. Let's get back into the serious stuff. The fun stuff. This Yankees team is clicking at the absolute right time. And you're going to find people to pick them apart every night. It doesn't matter how they win. It doesn't matter who they beat. If they go out there and they sweep the Red Sox this weekend and they beat the Astros and the Blue Jays early, people are always going to look at June and July and say that's the true Yankees. But none of this matters if they get hot and they go into the postseason and they kill it. We'll look back on it and be like, all right, they slumped for 2 months. And, maybe, God forbid, on the most high hopes you could have, maybe they get to the World Series and they win it. And on the championship DVD, they'll have BT and Boomer and Gio and Tiki and Evan. They're all going to be like, well, we all thought the Yankees were dead. And then away we go. It'll be C-Mac on there. I never gave up. I always believed in them. But the team is getting hot at the right time. And I think, we could focus on 3 players. It's been the whole team. But 3 guys, the key guys, who right now I really want to, focus on. And one, you've heard me talk about Rodon and his consistency. And he's been their best pitcher since day one. Yes, at the beginning it was Fried. And at times Weaver showed you something. And early on, in May, you got a little bit out of Devin Williams. But this guy, since day one, outside of 3 bad starts really, has been just consistent and reliable. And he doesn't get the praise. People will say, oh, he's just doing his job, but he's not getting the praise. So I wanted to highlight that. Stanton comes back healthy. Another guy who has completely transformed this lineup. You could probably pinpoint from the day Stanton came back that this team, he's only played 45 games this year, and his impact has been felt like he's been here since day one. And then on a lesser note, on a very short-term note, Caballero, I think, has added to this team something that they have not had in a long time. It's something they're missing since Cabrera got hurt. And that's a guy who could play all over the place. Somebody who could push Volpe to be better. A guy who gives you defense, gives you speed. He's got a little bit of pop. I'm not relying on him to go out there and, mash for you, but he's got a little bit of pop. And he gives you all the things, he's going to steal, maybe 50 bases this year. He's at 39. And since he's joined the Yankees, he's got over 1,000 OPS. It's only been 11 games, so you can't get too crazy. But the guy's mashing. He's hitting 364. Tonight they go out there, they hit 9 homers. To put in perspective how good this Yankees offense has been at times this year and how good it can be, 4 times in their history, they've hit at least 8 home runs. 2 of them have taken place this year. They're pitching well, both starting and bullpen. The deadline moves that Brian Cashman made have not only just benefited because of those players' addition and what they give you on the field, but what they've meant for other guys. Bednar being so locked down and becoming a guy who has separated himself in that closer's role has allowed Luke Weaver to slot into a more natural role, and he's been lights out. It has allowed Devin Williams to get demoted to a low-leverage spot, which early returns, he's been good. Outside of that first day in Miami, where maybe they partied a little too hard because they had just gotten to the Yankees and you're in Miami, Bednar, Caballero, Duvall, who has struggled a little bit, they've all lived up to expectations. Ryan McMahon, you hope, continues to hit like he has of recently. But he's an upgrade at third base. So they pitched well, starting pitching-wise, outside of Fried. The bullpen has been pretty consistent as of late. Pretty lights out. And offensively, they're on a tear. Ben Rice emerging and being consistent over the last few weeks has turned into, multiple benefits you've gotten from that because Ben Rice is now hitting. Obviously, that's the benefit. But now you don't have to rely on an Austin Wells. Stanton hitting and getting back healthy Judge has allowed you not have to rely on Jason Dominguez. And when you look at that lineup now, it's not just a deep lineup. They have a bench that you can now rely on. Goldschmidt's healthy. So and with Caballero, you've not only added depth, but you've also allowed a security blanket to both Volpe and McMahon. McMahon, obviously, you want him to be the everyday third baseman, but if Volpe goes through a prolonged stretch and needs a day, you have this guy to step in. You have this guy to put a fire underneath Volpe's rear end. 888-808-1019. It's time to start getting excited about this Yankees team. Roger in Trenton, what's going on, Roger? Good morning.
Hey, how you doing? I used to call into Evan and Tegan, but I'm up a little bit late, and I just want to talk about the Yankees. I really agree that it's really about getting hot at the end of the year and getting that momentum going into the postseason. But I just wanted to know if you thought it would maybe be a little bit bittersweet if we actually hypothetically won this one without Garrett Cole. We have all the pieces. We have Ben Rice. We have Caballero, like you said, coming in.
Roger, let me ask you this, because I'm not a Yankee fan. How would you feel about it? Are you going to care?
No. I mean, look, I would love love, absolutely, to get another ring. But I really do feel like Garrett Cole has put in the work, and he deserves to be a part of a championship team, don't you?
Of course. But how old are you, Roger?
I'm 35.
Okay, so you're my age. All right, so you've seen enough winning. So I guess think about the guys who are not, the guy who's like 25, who hasn't seen a lot of winning with the Yankees. I don't think anyone is caring about Garrett Cole getting a ring. I will say this Yankee team gets to the World Series again. It's not like this core is getting broken up overnight. Most of the deals, and I appreciate the call, Roger in Trenton. I appreciate the call. Listen, that is a nice thought. You're not going to care. If Cole will care, it will suck for Cole. And eventually you hope Cole, finishes his career here and he gets a monument in center field. And yeah, he may feel some type of way about it. It's like Jacob deGrom. He didn't have any part. It's not as bad as Jacob deGrom or it's worse because Cole is a Yankee. I don't think Ranger fans have any affinity for deGrom. But they won that ring and he wasn't a part of it. He was just there. So yes, there is a bittersweet moment. I'll bring it back to my football team. He retired before the Broncos ended up winning a Super Bowl. But Champ Bailey, one of the things that broke my heart the most about losing that terrible Super Bowl to the Seahawks was watching the mic'd up footage of Champ Bailey trying to rally the troops when they're down 24-0 or 24-7, whatever it was. And that guy is my favorite athlete of all time. But when they won the Super Bowl, I got to be honest, it didn't really come into my brain. When he became a Hall of Famer, it was like the one thing I wish I could have seen was this guy lift the trophy. So sure, you're going to feel bad. Maybe there's a generation of Yankee fans that looks at Garrett Cole if they win. Obviously, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But think about it. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of Yankee fans that idolize Don Mattingly that got to see all those championships in the late 90s and the early 2000s that feel bad Mattingly never got one, but it doesn't make those championships any less. So, no. And you're going to have another shot. Let's just, we're going to fantasy book a little bit. If they get to the World Series and they win, you're going to think that, all right, 2 years in a row they got to the World Series. This Yankees team is building something greater than we realized. And most of the team is controlled. Bednar's under control. Duvall's under control. Judge and Stanton will still be here. They'd probably bring back Bellinger then. All of these guys would still be here. The one good thing about what you say in that point is a lot, Rodon would still be here. Fried would still be here. The young pitchers are still going to be here. Anyone you care about on this team is still going to be here. They're all controllable. Part of what made me, I still liked what the Mets did at the deadline, even if it's been not great because of Helsley. And Mullins has left a lot to be desired. The difference between what the Mets did and the Yankees did is the Mets brought in a lot of rentals, and they may see guys, we may see Rogers come back. I do think he's a guy who comes back, and the Mets sign him. But, Helsley will be gone, and Mullins will be gone. The Yankees traded for all guys they have under control. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan. Paul in Buffalo. What's going on, Paul? Good morning.
Good morning, Anthony. I believe this is the first time I've had a chance to talk to you. You're a good listener.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
As I like to say, every day is a great day to be a Yankee fan, and especially today. We have the best offensive in the sport, in my opinion. The Dodgers and the Brewers are right there with us. But when you look at, we're throwing four guys who have won MVPs in our lineup when Goldschmidt and Stanton are in there, and Bellinger and Judge. That's incredible. And Stanton now has an OPS over 1,000. This guy is a professional hitter, a future Hall of Famer.
He is.
And if Aaron Judge hits this year in the playoffs, I think we're going to cruise through the American League. And, the World Series is the World Series. But to me, it's on Aaron Judge, and I believe he's going to hit this year because he's just too good not to. And look out. There's just nothing that's going to stop this team now that Cashman brought in the reinforcements, got the left side of the infield together, and Anthony Volpe is playing decent shortstop right now because that kid can hit regardless.
Well, he's been better. He has not been. He's not been awesome, but he's been way better. And after the All-Star break, he came out pretty hot.
you got to imagine having McMahon there at third just helps, just puts him in a little peace of mind that he can play a little less to his right, and he can make every throw he needs to because he's not so far to the left that his arm's going to be an issue.
No, you're 100% right, Paul, and I appreciate the call. And I'll put it this way. I'll push back a little bit, but me saying the Yankees have the third best offense as opposed to the best offense is not really a far cry from each other. So I'm not even going to. But when you look at it, they lead the league in OPS. They lead the league in slugging percentage. They're fourth in on-base percentage. They have a sizable lead in home runs. You know, they're top 10, I think, in doubles. This team mashes. They're third in runs scored. And that's what they think about this. Those numbers, competing with the Brewers and the Dodgers, are with 2 months where they did nothing. And the one thing I'll tell you about the Dodgers is they are great. But look at how they've been. They've lost games where they've lost to the Rockies at times. They didn't win a game against the Angels this year. You know, Mookie Betts is one of my favorite players in the sport. He's a 682 OPS on the year. Now, the one thing I will say is him and Lindor both suffered similar injuries, and they both kind of fell off at that point, although Lindor is red hot right now. When you look at that Dodgers lineup, it's deep. It is deep. It's a little deeper when you go like 1 through 9 than the Yankees, but it's not like they are far and wide better than them. They have Ohtani, who is, on Judge's level. But when you look at the other guys, they have a little bit more, length when it comes to all-around hitting. Freeman's a beast, and Will Smith's a beast. I think that's the difference in the two lineups, is when you have Ohtani, Will Smith, and Freeman, and you can never count Betts out. But that's where there is a little bit of the gap. But if Stanton keeps hitting the way he does, and Bellinger keeps hitting the way he does with Judge, they can compete with anybody. Ben Rice is hitting. Goldschmidt is healthy. Offensively, I'm not concerned about this team at all. And starting pitching, I'm going to trust what I've seen for the majority of the season. Outside of Max Fried, in this moment, his last 8-9 starts, I'm going to trust what I've seen from that starting pitching staff. So everything's on the table for them. Their bullpen, I think the Phillies have a good bullpen. The Brewers have a good bullpen. The Padres have a good bullpen, and the Yankees are right up there with them. Those are probably the 4 best bullpens in the league. I thought the Mets were going to be there, but until Helsley shows you something and some of these middle inning guys stabilize, like a Stanek and a Raley and a Reed Garrett, they're not allowed to be in that conversation. 888-808-1019. We got 40 minutes to play with until the warm-up show at 5 o'clock. Everything's on the table. Mets, Yankees. If you want to talk a little bit about the football teams, we can get into that as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
No matter the season, New York sports never stop. Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets. If it's happening, we're talking about it. The Fan, 101.9 FM, and always streaming on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps.
Injured? Don't be a whiner. Call me, Attorney Mark Miner. I'm Mark Miner, and I have over 30 years of experience handling personal injury cases. If you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. You can trust that the personal injury law firm of Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner will treat you with respect and fight for your rights. Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE for a free consultation. Our goal is to transform your pain into payment. If there is no recovery, there is no fee. We handle all type of accident cases and value the opportunities to help you. The sooner you call, the better. If you are injured, call 1-800-LAW-LINE so we can discuss how to transform your pain into payment. Don't be a whiner. Call Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner at 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Zalman, Schnurman, and Miner, personal injury attorneys.
Don't whine. Call 1-800-LAW-LINE. That's 1-800-LAW-LINE.
Now at Verizon, lock in our low price, plus free roaming included in Puerto Rico. Discover the best mofongo, post that perfect sunset on La Isla, and save big with Verizon listen while you do it. Switch and get 4 lines for just $30 per line. See? Just $30 per month with unlimited welcome with autopay plus taxes and fees. Plus calls, texts, and data in Puerto Rico included. So you can use your phone sin problema. Stop by your New York Verizon store today. For unlimited welcome in times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
Town Fair Tire became New England's #1 discount tire dealer by giving you the absolute lowest prices guaranteed. And with over 100 stores from Connecticut to Maine, we'll beat anybody's price. Other dealers, we beat them. Warehouse clubs, we beat them. Online sites, we beat them all every day. So remember, for the absolute guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Are you searching for a warm and welcoming community for mom or dad? River Spring Living just may be the right option. Set on a 32-acre campus right there along the beautiful Hudson River, there are plenty of chances to engage in activities, wellness programs, and so much more. From independent living to assisted living and memory care, specialized teams are dedicated to making everyone feel right at home. I've seen firsthand what makes life at River Spring Living so special. Visit riverspringliving.org today.
Imagine a gentleman's club with over 200 gorgeous exotic dancers every week.
Hey, big boy.
From the people who make fantasies come true, Gallagher's 2000 in Long Island City is the place to be. Gallagher's 2000, a gentleman's club for today, gentlemen. Gallagher's 2000 features 2 floors, 3 stages, discounted drinks, VIP, champagne rooms, and dinner specials every night. Gallagher's 2000 offers complimentary lunch Thursdays and Fridays with any drink purchase.
Come on down, big boy.
Gallagher's 2000 is New York's largest upscale gentleman's club, and Gallagher's 2000's bachelor parties will blow you away. For their bachelor party specials, call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is located at 4319 37th Street in Long Island City, Queens, just a half a block north of Queens Boulevard. Call 718-361-1348. Gallagher's 2000 is unlike any club in New York. Come tonight for the time of your life. Gallagher's 2000.
Let your imagination run wild.
Get connected with WFAN to talk about your favorite teams. The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeart, and
mathematician or anything that involves using your brain. You know, we've talked Mets, Yankees. It's funny how a couple of weeks changes everything. You know, you got positivity all around. The Mets, the Yankees, the Giants, even the Jets. I know a lot of people are down on the Jets just because they don't have, you know, the new shiny toy like Jackson Dart. But I am pumped up for the football season as a non-New York football fan. It'll be nice to actually see competent football. So there's a lot. They're not perfect. It's like, you know, I'm going to have to read some in a second. The teams are not going to be perfect, but there is a lot to be excited about. And I will say this. The difference between both teams right now, it also is the fans. Giant fans are not as scorned as Jet fans are. So they allow themselves to believe a little bit more. The problem with the Jet fan is they don't allow themselves to get excited about anything. It's either all or nothing. It's, the Rodgers teams where their defense is going to be the 85 Bears and Rodgers is going to be the Aaron Rodgers of old. Or it's this team there's nothing, there's no hope. And for the Giant fans, and it's why it bothers me. I hate the gatekeeping of joy when it comes to sports. Like, the Giant fans being excited about what they see from Jackson Dart has somehow translated to people saying they're putting him in Canton. No, they're excited to see a young quarterback. They had to talk themselves into Tommy DeVito for 2 years and Daniel Jones for 5-6 years. Yeah, they're not going to be, we don't know what Jackson Dart is yet, but it's okay to get a little excited about it. And the best case scenario is we don't see this kid this year. And Russ, leads them to, they could, I never believe in tanking, but you can never even use that excuse this year. Like, they might win too many games and, they're not going to get their quarterback, which is dumb to me. I'll disagree with it. I disagree with a lot of people about it. In any sport, I am never pro-tanking. And I can tell you this much, the guys on the field are never pro-tanking. Outside of that one time the Saints kicker missed that kick and we all thought it was on purpose to get Reggie Bush. Training camp coverage on WFAN is brought to you by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico. Let's go back to the calls. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan. Bob in Bayside. Good morning, Bob.
Anthony, before I get to sports, I have two miscellaneous items.
I'm down.
I want to tell you a very old New York Italian joke. I'm sure you've heard it.
Let me hear it.
It's apropos for your name.
Is it appropriate?
It's only a 2-second joke. Yeah, it's appropriate. How come there's so many Tonys in New York?
I don't know. Why is that?
Oh, come on. This is a 60-year-old joke around New York City.
I don't think I've heard this one. Why is that?
Because when the Italian immigrants came over in the beginning of the 20th century, thousands of them, on the boat, they put a patch on their clothes, Tony, to New York.
I didn't know that. I've never heard that before.
Oh, come on.
Hey, Bob,
so old.
I'll tell you this much, too. You didn't do anything wrong. I'll say this much. I hate going by Tony. My mom is Tony Marie. So, very New York Italian name, by the way. Her name is Tony Marie, so she is Tony, and I'm Anthony. I used to hate going by Tony. Remember the Prince Spaghetti Day commercial? Like, Tony, it's Prince Spaghetti Day. I hated it because everyone would call me Tony. Yeah. Sopranos come out, everyone would call me Tony. So I'm Anthony. And
actually, most women from Tony who are called Tonys from Antoinette.
Yeah,
but anyway.
My mom is not that, though. It is Tony Marie. And, or if you're familiar with the morning show, they like to call me Antifa Anthony. My dad gets a kick out of that one.
One more thing.
Okay.
My girlfriend Googled friendlies for you. No friendlies in any of the 5 boroughs. The biggest state, there's 102 friendlies left in the United States. 26, the state with the most friendlies is Massachusetts with 26.
Okay.
8 or 9 on Long Island.
I know.
And 13 in New Jersey, including Metuchen, Howell, which is right outside of Freehold. Yep. You know Howell.
Yep.
And there's one in Toms River. You have a caller from Toms River.
Yep. So, Bob,
that's my research on friendlies for you.
Put it lightly, I said there was only 1 left, and there ended up being 105 left. So, not my best work.
Okay. Now, a question for you. You're a Broncos fan.
Yes, sir.
I remember a couple of years ago when Russell played for the Broncos, everybody said, that's it, he's toast, he's done. He was terrible that year.
He was.
Now, what's changed in your mind? What's changed?
So, I'll put it this way. I don't hate Russell Wilson. A lot of Broncos fans do not like the guy. His second year, he was not perfect. He was a lot better than he got credit for. And I think what's changed in his mind, competent coaching, and we forget Nathaniel Hackett, who I know this is harsh, I used to call him the village idiot, was a terrible coach, and from week 1, he was clearly in over his head. I think that played into it, and I think it was, competent coaching, the fact that he went to a team with a good offensive line, and I also think that he never was terrible. He just was not the guy that we thought we were getting in Denver. But if you compare him to Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito, he is 10 times that player.
By the way, I'm a Giant fan who disagrees with everybody about Daniel Jones. I thought he had all the tools. He never had an offensive line. He had receivers who were injured and coming in and out. Barkley was injured one year. I just think Daniel Jones didn't have the right situation around him.
So, Bob, and I appreciate the call, Bob. Great call. I appreciate the jokes, too. I was a Daniel Jones defender. I wasn't a fan of Daniel Jones, but I was a defender of him. I mean, you get 6 years. You got to figure it out. And you know what? He's getting another chance because he's going to start at least early on for the Colts, which I think it's more of an indictment on Anthony Richardson than it is an indictment on Daniel Jones. And I know the realist take. I was talking to Pat Boyle before the show, and he was prepping for his show on Infinity Sportsnet. And he was called it the realistic take is, it's the right move to go with Daniel Jones. But I'm like, you drafted a guy at 4th. You gave him one shot. You should probably figure out what you got. And you could go to Daniel Jones later. But Daniel Jones, he's going to play behind the better offensive line now. But it doesn't matter. Russell Wilson can't be, criticized because now he's got a better offensive line. And I think that Giants offensive line is better. You drafted, Andrew Thomas should be healthy. You signed a few guys. You got Hudson. You got Luminor. So you have good tackle depth. They got that guy. I think his name is, you pronounce it Embo. He should be good. Everyone's very hyped up on him. The 5th-round pick, I think he was. Evan Neal's looked good after moving inside during the 2 games and the few videos I've seen from training camp. And when we were at training camp, it's tough to miss him. He's gigantic. So maybe you got something there. They have a decent Theo Johnson's a good tight end. You have one of the best wideouts in football, Malik Neighbors. They have a good running back room. So there's tools there for Russell Wilson to succeed. The difference is, and as much as you defend or dislike Daniel Jones, I think the one thing we can all agree on, he wasn't the most efficient passer. Even in his best years, he was not an efficient passer. He was a run-first quarterback. Whether it's Jackson Dart, well, it's not going to be Jackson Dart, hopefully. That's my hope, is we don't see him this year. But whether it's Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston or Jackson Dart, whoever's throwing the ball when they pass the ball is going to be better than Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito. Peter in Manhattan. Good morning, Peter.
How you doing, Anthony? Just for the record, I do have a son named Anthony. I mean, he's younger than you, and he goes by Anthony or Tony. But anyway, I prefer Anthony. Anthony's better.
I'm not saying Tony's a bad name. It's just like when my mom being Tony, it was like I wanted, and I'm Junior. So, my dad's Anthony as well. So if I would go by Anthony or Little Ant or Junior, so Tony was always the one that I didn't like.
Right, because I like Anthony too. But Anthony, I have a question for you. 2 questions, maybe. So I'm reading here, and I'm hearing from the fan about the reshuffling of the major leagues going forward. So,
right.
So two questions. So, and then they would be adding teams. So the first question I have, so I'll ask, and then I'll hang up and hear your expert answers to this. So
I don't know about expert opinion, but I'll take it.
Well, compared to what I know, it's super expert. So we'll put it that way. But just quickly, how would that work? In other words, because they're talking about the Mets and Yankees being in the same division. And the other question I have, is this dependent? We're talking about adding 2 more teams. Now, is this dependent that the owners think we're going to get a salary cap? Because if we get two extra teams and the owners don't spend money, we're just going to have more useless teams. So those are my questions, Anthony. So you be well, and thank you so much.
I appreciate it, Peter. You have a good morning.
I love your show. Your show is great. Your show is great.
Thank you, Pete. Peter should be my agent. Well, first with the expansion, it looks like they are, we've seen, possibly they thought about, Mexico City, and then, Montreal's always in play. I feel like the 3 biggest cities that'll get, my opinion, the favorites, Charlotte, Nashville, and Portland. Those are the ones I've seen. Now, the realignment thing, it's tough because I hate this, I only sound, old-fashioned when it comes to baseball. Like, I never wanted the DH in the National League. I still, I love a good bunt. So them reorganizing the league, I can't stand it. But I do understand the benefit of it. And the thought of the Mets playing the Red Sox and the Yankees more is great. But the problem I have with it, and I don't want a salary cap. I'm sick of these owners crying poor. And they were able to not sell a single ticket in 2020, and they all made money. You know, the Pirates, you know, Bob Nutting holds the sport back more than Hal Steinbrenner or Steve Cohen does. John Fisher holds the sport back more than Cohen or Steinbrenner. Or even John Henry, who's looked at as a cheap owner and he still spends towards the top of the league. And that's the Red Sox owner, if you don't know. So a salary cap to me is a non-starter. If I'm the players, I don't agree with that. It's also, you know, we're all for free market, we're all for this, but then all of a sudden we want to limit how much somebody can make. It's very un-American in my opinion. And these owners will cry poor. Bob Nutting is robbing the Pittsburgh fan base. They would, you know, perfect example, that Yankees-Marlins series. The Marlins sold out every game. And it wasn't just because the Yankees were there. They were playing hot baseball, and they finally looked like they might have a chance at a wild card spot. Novel concept that if you put a good team on the field and they compete, fans will show up. Attendance is up around the league. You know, last year, the Rockies had a better attendance, or it was like neck and neck with the Mets. You know, the Rockies owner could put a baseball team out there that they would show up. They show up for the Avalanche. They show up for the Nuggets. You know, there's no reason why any MLS team should outsell major league teams on average. And it happens all across the country. So I hate the salary cap nonsense. It's a joke. Because if you do a salary cap without a salary floor, the Pirates, the A's, the Reds, the Rockies, they're still not going to spend. You reward teams in baseball for not spending. That's what you do. The Yankees spend, and then they pay the Pirates not to spend. And the only team I'll give a pass to, because they're competitive most years, is the Rays. But the Rays owner would probably spend, if they had a stadium, watch, when they build that stadium in Tampa, watch how differently it gets. The Lightning sell out. So it's possible. But if they're going to realign the leagues, you can't have the West and the East stacked, and then the Central teams and the Southern teams don't spend. You can't do that. You can't have the Mets, Phillies, Red Sox, and Yankees ripping each other apart. There has to be a balance there. For me, if you're going to do that, you do East and West, and you got to keep the Cubs and the Cardinals. Wherever the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves are, you have to still honor those rivalries. Because I get it. You can't sell Phillies, Angels on a Tuesday night. Whatever. You're not going to do that anyway when it's, you know, Rockies, Angels on a Tuesday night. It's not, nobody's going to care. They're still all going to have to play each other. Why is it the NFL? I get it. Football's king. So you're all going to say that. Why is it the NFL has no problem making markets relevant? Why is it the NBA, the OKC Thunder, can win a title? And the Pacers could be good for 20-plus years and be competitive, more than competitive, for 20-plus years. Multiple finals runs, or, you know, over 30 years. Multiple finals runs, multiple conference finals runs. The Pistons mismanaged their roster. They should have had a dynasty with those Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups teams. Why is it the Spurs? Baseball's the only one who hasn't figured it out because they allow the owners to not try to be competitive. We've sold fan bases on believing in prospects. Why do you care how much these guys make? It's not your money. You don't care about how much the owners are pocketing. We want to cap how much the players can make, but we want to reward owners who aren't actually good at their jobs. You know, we rip Hal Steinbrenner all the time. How many of these markets would kill to have a guy like Hal? He's a great owner. Or Steve Cohen. Not only in the fact that they spend, they're transparent. Bob Nutting's running away. The Pittsburgh Pirates owner runs away from the fan fest they had this year where there was going to be a Q&A. Cohen sat up there and let Met fans boo him. He just spent $750 million on Juan Soto, and he let the fan base boo him. As he didn't budge. He was honest with them about the Alonso negotiations. So there's probably going to be a salary cap. But if they don't put a salary floor, and I've been a bit of a Manfred defender at times, if they don't put a salary floor, he will just do nothing to help this sport. You'll weaken the big markets that carry you. You will not enforce these smaller markets to spend. The Reds won't spend. The Pirates won't spend. The A's are not going to spend. You rip the A's out of what was a great sports city. But as far as expansion goes, Nashville is dying for a professional sports team outside of the hockey team. Charlotte is a untapped baseball market. And Portland's a great sports city. The Portland Timbers, and I think they're the Portland Thorns, is the women's soccer team. They sell out. I think the Timbers do like 40. They average like upper 30s. And that's for soccer. They love the Blazers out there. If the Blazers are an 8 seed, they're selling out every game. So there's markets they could tap into. But there's no repercussions to owners who don't want to be competitive in that sport. So sure, put the cap on it and watch how none of these teams spend without a floor. They had to do it in the NBA. And in the NBA, though, if you don't reach that floor, you still have to pay that money out to the guys on your roster then. 888-808-1019. Everything's on the table when we come back. Positivity with the baseball teams. We look ahead to football season. You want to talk MLB expansion, we could get into that more. And realignment. 888-808-1019. Anthony Gallo on the Fan till 5 a.m.
It's Boomer and Gio. Mornings on the Fan. 1019 FM.
I need my glasses. I was reading the wrong column. I can't see a thing without my glasses. Damn straight.
Listen to Boomer and Gio on demand on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text Joe22 to 32 32 32. 866-323-7529. 250 Paley, Saddlebrook. Diana Magala, licensed in New York and New Jersey. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
With so many options, choosing the right funding solution for your small business can be confusing and complicated. LendSeek makes it easy. Our AI platform instantly matches your business with over 100 funders to find the perfect fit, up to $1 million in as fast as 24 hours. Recently, a business owner needed $100,000 that same day to beat new tariff pricing and avoid a 3-week shipping delay. LendSeek got him funded in just 2 hours. He locked in pre-tariff pricing, kept shelves stocked, and steered clear of the storm. And because LendSeek continually evaluates new funding options for your changing needs, it's easy to see why 90% of our clients come back for additional funding. If you've been in business at least 2 years with annual revenue of at least $500,000, qualifying is easy with no collateral, no out-of-pocket costs, and no hassle. LendSeek is open for business. Apply now with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com. LendSeek. You seek, we lend.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New York Army National Guard.
With baseball in full swing, there's never a dull moment or a shortage of thrills in this league. The thrills are nothing new at Bay Ridge Mazda. Tired of that clunker you've been driving? Just bring it into Bay Ridge Mazda for up to $2,000 over book value all month long. The time is now to make a trade. Head over to the place where everybody wins, Bay Ridge Mazda, located on 4th Avenue and 90th Street, or buy your car direct at BayRidgeMazda.com and have it delivered to your door. That's Bay Ridge Mazda, 4th Avenue and 90th Street in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Hey, Connecticut, if you want name brand tires at the guaranteed lowest price and the most free services, then get to Town Fair Tire. Because nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire.
This is JJ Hill of Shulman & Hill, New York's premier injury law firm. We'll always fight for you if you're injured at a construction site. If you've ever wished you had a lawyer in the family, now you will. At Shulman & Hill, it's never one and done. Once you're a client, you're always part of our family. Shulman & Hill. We're not just New York's law firm, we're your law firm. Get your free consultation at hurtny.com. That's hurtny.com.
Hi, this is Stu Leonard and my wife Kim, and we lost our 2-year-old son to a drowning accident. It's been our lifelong dream to open up a swim school. Drowning is the #1 cause of death for children under 5, but those who take swim lessons are 88% less likely to drown. Sign up for swim lessons today at stewietheduck.org, and all profits from the school will go to swim lessons for the needy.
Visit stewietheduck.org for your free intro lesson today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Talk New York sports on WFAN. 888-808-1019. Powered by Paramount Plus. Count on Sundays all season long with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Anthony Gallo, back on the fan. Got you for another 10 minutes until Al and Jerry take over. And then the big dogs, Boomer and Gio, on this National Radio Day. I will be back tomorrow and the night after that, or the morning, depending on what time you get up or go to bed. Filling in for C-Mac. And then next week, C-Mac's still off. The great Al Cintron will be filling in as well. I will be back a little bit next week as well. And then I'm taking a little, holiday, going away Labor Day, or the Sunday before Labor Day, and then taking advantage of the very cheap Jersey Shore and Atlantic City combo. The girlfriend is lifelong Brooklynite, never been to the Jersey Shore, Atlantic City. So we're going to do the Borgata and then a little bit of, Bradley, Belmar, Point Pleasant, because it's dirt cheap and the beaches are still open. And the boardwalks are still open. So that should be fun. I'm fired up. I haven't had a vacation in a bit. 888-808-1019. Let's get to the calls to wrap this up. My guy, Maury in Belmore. Long time no talk.
My man. What's up, AG?
I'm good. How are you, dude?
I'm good. It's great to hear you. I don't know. I don't remember the guy that does the overnights, but this feels really good.
Oh, C-Mac is fine. I don't sing as well as him, but C-Mac's the man. He's discovering, getting back to his roots in Palermo, in Italy. So he's enjoying himself.
Good for him. Good for him. No, I'm obviously being facetious, but look, I feel like it's great to hear you as usual. It's been too long, and having Al next week will be cool. But I think the trades that both teams made at the deadline are really helping these teams stay alive, or at least start to show that, okay, let's go for this run. Let's put everything on the table. We got a bench. We got some pitchers. Let's just go for it. And I think right now, both teams seem to be in a good position to get some wins over teams they should win. They should beat. And then let's see what happens. I mean, I do think they'll both be in the playoffs. And, anything goes when that happens. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting, Maury. And I appreciate the call, man. It's always great talking to you. I'm more confident with the Yankees in their positioning. The Mets they can control their own destiny. They play the Reds, they play the Phillies, they play the Padres, they play the Cubs. They don't have as light of a schedule as the Yankees. The Yankees schedule after, what is it, September, the second week of September gets very light. And they will be able to, I'm bringing it up right now. Yeah, after September 14th, they play the Red Sox this weekend. They play the Astros to start September, Blue Jays, Tigers, Red Sox in that order. And then they have a cakewalk after that. Twins, Orioles, White Sox, Orioles. So they have they both have it in front of them. They both control their own destinies. And for the Yankees, they may be staring at a chance to widen after this weekend, have a gap between them, the Red Sox, and the Mariners, and be able to actually host the wild card round. And the division's not out of the question just yet, but they got a lot of work to do there. And for the Mets, let's hopefully tonight, Senga, Minaya, they go out there and they tonight Senga, tomorrow Minaya, and they give us something. I'll be able to get more excited, get a little ridiculous with you heading into that Braves series and go slay some demons in Atlanta. You have the Nationals for 2 more, you get the Braves for 3, and then you're home against the Phillies. And the Mets' September schedule is a gauntlet. You start with 3 against the Tigers on the road, 3 in Cincinnati, 4 in Philadelphia. You come back to play the Rangers. Hopefully DeGrom. Well, actually, no. I got to be honest. Let him not pitch that week. Just let him get the video tribute and we cheer him and everyone gives him the standing ovation. I don't want to see him. Give me whoever their 5th starter is. And then after that, you get the Padres. And then you finish up the home portion of the season with the Nationals. But then you got to go to Chicago and Miami. And Miami, listen, they'll probably be out of it by then. But they've shown fight. 888-808-1019. Dom, you finish it off for us. What's up, Dom and Kenilworth?
So I wanted to talk about the salary floor and the salary cap. I agree with you 100% that there is need for a salary floor. And the other thing is, baseball will be looking out for the big market teams who make mistakes. Like, let's say the Yankees with a DJ LeMahieu. If you force a team to have a salary floor, the Yankees could trade DJ LeMahieu and, let's say, a prospect.
It would turn into similar how the NBA is.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be trading a guy with an expiring contract so they can get prospects. So they could still prospect hunt and try to be cheap, but they'll be forced to spend. And the Yankees get rid of a player that they don't want.
Well, they would have to do a couple things, though, also. They'd have to change the arbitration because you can't now teams are going to you're going to hurt the younger player because you can't have the salary. And I appreciate the call, Dom. I think there's a need for a salary floor because you have too many teams that benefit. Like, why should the Pirates spend $25 million but then get $33 million in revenue sharing rewarded to them because the Yankees and the Mets went into the luxury tax? You could do a hard cap, like luxury tax, similar to what basketball does, without putting an actual salary cap on the sport. But you can't put a cap without a floor. And then if you do this, you have to change the way arbitration is handled. Because most of these guys don't get a chance to get their big payday until they're later in their careers. And I'm not feeling bad for anybody, obviously. The athlete makes a lot of money. The owner makes a lot of money. I just love how hypocritical it is when we only talk about the player. And for the other sports, the gap between player salary and what they make is a lot wider. So obviously the baseball union is super strong. But I hate the rewarding and, bending the knee to guys who do not benefit the sport. The Pirates owner, Bob Nutting, I forget what the Reds owner is, what his name is, but the guys like that, and the Reds tried to spend a little bit now, but Bob Nutting, John Fisher of the A's, Manafort of the Rockies, these guys hurt the sport way more than Cohen, the Dodgers ownership group, the Yankees, and Hal Steinbrenner. Those are the guys on those small market teams, the owners that don't view putting a competitive product on the field, a good product on the field, as a priority. That's who hurts the sport. Because unlike any other sport, when you do that, you can't turn it around in a year. You know, Brian Reynolds just got paid for the Pirates. It was their biggest contract. Luis Severino was the biggest contract the A's gave out. And I'm not saying throw $100 million at every player. I'd rather see these contracts go the way of football than have a salary cap where there's less guaranteed money. But why should these teams benefit? Because if you put a cap, you're still not going to see these teams spend. Without a floor, and that's not what's being guaranteed. You know, we all expect alignment and expansion, more money for the owners. We all expect a salary cap, but there's no talk of a salary floor. So when they cap these teams at, I don't know, whatever you want to say it is, $250 million, the Rays, the Reds, the A's, the Orioles, the Rockies, they're still only going to spend like $30 million on their team. And in baseball, we see the giant contracts. We don't see what happens to the middleman. Another great show. Shout out to Fleegs, as always, on the other side. Coming up at 5. You got the warm-up show next. Boomer and Gio at 6 a.m. I'm back again tomorrow night / morning for CMAC and Friday. Stay tuned. If you want to hit me up on X, it's PicoDay_Gallo on X. And on IG, it's Pico de Gallo 24. I'm back again. Happy National Radio Day, as that is today. Hopefully we get another Mets win, another Yankees win, and keep this